We interrupt this program for a severe weather alert from ABC 3340.
8:17, we have a tornado warning now in effect for parts of Walker County. Let's see, that warning is in effect for parts of Walker and Winston counties until 9 o'clock. This is the tornado warning Polygon, and you can see this includes the northwestern corner of Walker County and parts of eastern Winston County. The possible tornado is near Carbon Hill, crossing Interstate 22, moving northeast. And let's stress that as you hear maybe some older legacy systems, you might hear county-wide warnings. This does not include Jasper. This does not include Doris, Summerton, Parrish, Oakman. The only part of Walker County involved in this is basically Carbon Hill, then back up into Winston County. And that would include places like Arley, the western part of Smith Lake, includes Addison. It just misses Double Springs. So in terms of Winston County, Double Springs not in the Polygon. Haleyville not in the Polygon. Lynn is not in the Polygon, but it does include, again, in Walker County, Carbon Hill, Nauvoo, Smith Lake, pretty good chunk of Smith Lake up here toward Arley. We have, you can see debris that is being lofted now near Carbon Hill along Alabama Highway 118. And that is moving pretty rapidly to the northeast. And so we have a debris signature on radar now. So this is going to be a tornado that is most likely down, a confirmed tornado near Carbon Hill, moving northeast at 40. So we are asking you if you are in the far northwestern part of Walker County. Again, this would include Nauvoo. That's Alabama Highway 5. Prospect is right here. You got Manchester here. You're not in the Polygon. Jasper is down here, not in the Polygon. This does include Carbon Hill and points back up here toward Nauvoo. Up in Winston County, this includes places like Poplar Springs. It includes Arley and Addison. And Smith Lake, that section of Smith Lake that's on the Winston County side. So again, if you are in any of those places, now is the time to go to a safe place. That is a small room on the lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. No mobile homes, no cars. We want you in a good, safe place, and in the safe place, you're wearing a helmet. Now, if you're in a storm shelter designed to handle tornadoes, you don't need the helmet, but if you're in your home, a site-built house, in a hall, closet, bathroom, yes, we want you in that safe place with a helmet on. And again, you can see the evidence of tornado debris being lofted now. The tornado most likely is near Interstate 22 around Carbon Hill High School. And that will continue moving to the northeast in this fashion, ultimately crossing over into Winston County, coming up here toward Arley, and places like Addison and Helicon up here in the eastern part of Winston County. And again, in Winston County, this does not include Double Springs. This does not include Haleyville. This does include Poplar Springs, Arley, and Addison. All right, so that's the situation here. And we are also watching other storms that are intensifying, and we might have other warnings issued shortly. So just be aware of that. Like we've been talking, this event is far, far from over. We've had a lull over the past hour or so, but we might see additional warnings over the next few hours. This will likely go on through midnight, 2 a.m. So again, possible tornado right here near Carbon Hill that's crossing Interstate 22 near the high school. And that'll be coming out across Alabama Highway 5. And then ultimately across Highway 195, which is right here, and then moving up right on top of Smith Lake up here toward Arley. So if you're in any of these places in that Polygon, you respect the Polygon and go to a safe place. This is a tornado warning for the far northwest part of Walker County and the eastern part of Winston County. We've got the Skycam in Jasper, and maybe we can point that around to the west. We'll take a look at the lightning output from this storm. And I know that it is illuminating the sky. These storms are producing a lot of lightning and thunder at this point. These storms. Let's take our Jasper Skycam if we can. Neural, the Skycam network. All right, and let's point it the other way. That's looking to the east. We want to turn it around back to the west.
I'm having trouble moving it here.
Okay. And if we can't move it, then we can't move it. We'll get an engineer to look at it. But again, that's that is pointed in a fixed direction back off to the east. The tornado's back in the other direction, but obviously lightning is illuminating the sky in Walker County. But let's go back to the radar. I want to show a big picture view, all right? So you've got the warning here. Let me show you the DMA view from Birmingham. And you can see these storms in progress in parts of north and west Alabama back into central Mississippi. The lightning output is really increased in Tuscaloosa. Let's look at Tuscaloosa County. There is no formal warning in effect at this point, but let's take a look at the velocity display. And boy, the lightning is just really ramped up. And boy, look at that. That's a sign of really strong winds coming into Tuscaloosa. So even though there's no sign of a tornado here, I would not be shocked if you were to see some really strong winds. And if we can take one of our Tuscaloosa cameras, maybe DCH or the courthouse camera, and looking back to the west into this thing, I'd like to see that. Okay, we cannot take the Skycam network, so, all right, and we'll need to change the filter if we can. And if we cannot...
Looks like it's frozen up on me here. It has frozen up.
Let's see here. And we're going to go to the IR cut filter and turn that on.
Okay.
And we'll get the color back in here, and we're going to try and shoot into that storm. But again, anyway, this is the, I don't know, Naral, if you can get Brassfield back here in the back to work on the Skycam network, thank you. So, the possibility of strong winds coming into Tuscaloosa, just be aware of that. There is no formal warning at this point, but there's a real surge coming into Tuscaloosa of stronger winds, and that might be enough to knock down some trees and power lines. But let's go back up into the storm north of there. So there's no warning for Tuscaloosa County. There is a warning right here for parts of Walker and Winston counties. And again, this is the possibility of a tornado that is now north of Interstate 22, moving northeast about like that. And this will be crossing the Winston County line coming up here towards Smith Lake. This is Smith Lake. Smith Lake has the multiple fingers across parts of Coleman, Winston, and Walker counties. Arley is kind of in the middle of all that right here. So this is the area within that polygon. And let's put our reflectivity back on here first, and we'll take a look at that. And again, you can see kind of evidence of an inflow right in through here, and that most likely would be the tornado right in through this region here. So again, this is now crossed over Interstate 22. If you're at Carbon Hill, the danger is ended from this storm. So if you're at Carbon Hill, the danger has ended. We got a possible tornado that's going to be crossing out of Walker into Winston County, coming up here toward Arley and Smith Lake. And again, evidence of what could be some debris being lofted right here that's about to cross over Alabama Highway 5 between Edgell Grove and the Winston County line up here in the general direction of Nauvoo. And that'll be crossing over into Winston. So just be aware that we have a tornado warning in effect for parts of northwestern Walker and eastern Winston counties. And again, we're showing that area right there, and that's a pretty good sign we have debris that is being lofted. And understand, that's a real deal. Every time we see that, something's being taken up by a tornado. We don't exactly know what that is. It might be parts of trees or tree limbs, parts of a house, boards, bricks, glass, nails, something like that. But it's not a hydrometeor. And again, that circulation is coming up into Winston County at this point. The circulation is fairly broad. It's not as tight as it was, and we'll see what happens with this. We had one like this in Greene County earlier. It tried and tried, and it fizzled. We hope this one fizzles, but we'll see. This isn't a rain-cooled air mass. It's just a big mass of rain up and through here, but again, the dynamic forcing is so strong that this is producing a few spin-ups in through here. The area we're watching for the longer-lasting tornadoes is probably going to be south of the big rain mass, south of Interstate 20. We're down there, the air has not been touched, and again, we're just going to keep an eye on that. And boy, the lightning ramp up, and there's a warning. I knew that would be coming soon. That is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Tuscaloosa County for the possibility of strong winds. And if we've got that Tuscaloosa Skycam, we do not. All right. So again, strong winds coming into Tuscaloosa, and that will be working its way through Tuscaloosa County. Again, Brookwood is here. Cottondale is here. This is Tuscaloosa. Northport is here, and you can see those areas of stronger winds basically coming right in on Tuscaloosa and Northport. This is not a tornado warning, but this is a severe thunderstorm warning. The winds could reach 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, straight line winds, and this is easily enough wind to knock down trees and power lines. So just be aware of that storm that is coming into Tuscaloosa, not tornadic, but very strong winds. And again, some trees and power lines could easily go down with that. You can see some of the wind velocities at the radar beam height, which is a few thousand feet off the ground, and some of that's going to translate right down to the surface. And that's the kind of wind you could see here very easily. So a severe thunderstorm warning in effect now for Tuscaloosa County. So let's go back up to the other storm. We're going to bounce back between these two storms. This is the storm to the north that has prompted a tornado warning in effect for parts of northwestern Walker and Winston counties. And the circulation is really broadened out. This thing looked good for about 5, 10, 15 minutes, and now it's very broad. So if this trend continues, although we're still seeing evidence of something being lofted up here along Highway 5, even though the radar signature, the velocity signature, not looking that good, but that thing is going to cross into Winston County. And we've seen signatures like this a lot today. And every time we see something like that, we have trees and power lines going down. And in some cases, we have tornado damage. So understand, respect the Polygon. If you're in it, you are sheltered. You are not in a mobile home. You are not in a car. And you've got your helmet on in your safe place. And we'll let you go as soon as we can. We'll give you an all clear the minute we can do that. But that warning will stay in effect for Walker and Winston counties until 9 o'clock tonight. And again, this is for a small part of Walker County. Understand this does not include Dora, Sumiton, Parrish, Oakman, Cordova, Jasper. This includes, in Carbon Hill, we've given you the all clear. It's basically for a small part of Walker County. Nauvoo is up here. That's Alabama Highway 5. This thing is down here toward Lupton. And again, that'll be crossing over into Winston County. So it's a really broad look on the velocity display here. This thing might have occluded, and we might not have a tornado down at this point. So it doesn't look that impressive, but until that warning is canceled, we encourage people to stay in your safe place. And more than likely, this would not be a long track type tornado. The better chance of those most likely will be south of Interstate 20 for the rest of tonight. But if you've been watching us today, you know that these smaller tornadoes can produce real problems and cause injuries. We've had injuries today. We've had property damage. We've had trees down in many counties from these thunderstorms just like this. And again, that thunderstorm is crossing out of Walker, coming up into Winston County. We should also notice some pretty strong winds coming into Jasper. There's no tornado warning in effect there, but you've probably got winds that are increasing. The weather is deteriorating. So down here in Walker County, no tornado threat for Jasper, but very strong winds are most likely blowing at this point. And those strong winds could be enough to knock down some trees and power lines farther south into Walker County. So just in that zone from Oakman back up to Jasper, be aware of that. Let's put the reflectivity back on here. Let me quickly show you the fact that it's also pouring, just torrential rain falling in through here, and maybe even some small hail. And all that's coming right into downtown Jasper. So some strong winds are likely on the leading edge of this. But again, the tornado possibilities are right in through here. That's almost on the Winston-Walker County line coming up toward Arley and Smith Lake. But down here, we have the chance of strong straight-line winds coming through Jasper, Oakman, Parrish, Dora, Sumiton, Sipsey, Empire, the rest of Walker County. And that line extends on down into Fayette County as well.
As a matter of fact, they're issuing a flash flood warning for Fayette, Greene, Jefferson, Pickens, Sumter, Tuscaloosa, Walker. So right along that line that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, this is going to produce some tremendous amounts of rain in through here. So the Weather Service posting flash flood warnings in effect for a number of counties. Let me point out we have Coleman County under a severe thunderstorm warning. Again, for all the counties.
And the tornado warning is canceled for Walker and Winston.
Yeah, that thing got awfully noisy real quick. So the tornado warning for Walker and Winston has been canceled. We have a flash flood warning for parts of Fayette, Greene, Jefferson, Pickens, Sumter, Tuscaloosa, and Walker counties. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Kuhlman, Marshall, and Morgan counties. Okay, so again, before we go to the live shot, just let me show you these warnings here. This tornado warning has been canceled, so that's off the board. A severe thunderstorm warning for Coleman, parts of Morgan and Marshall counties. Severe thunderstorm warning for Walker, parts of Fayette counties. A severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Tuscaloosa County. All of these warnings are related to damaging straight-line winds. So the bottom line, let's pop the radar back on here real quick. Let me show you what we've got. We've got a band of storms, and you can see coming from Huntsville down to about West Point, Coleman, Arley, Jasper. Look at the lightning ramping up in Tuscaloosa
Yeah, they're
County.
saying
Wow.
a big inflow right now near
Yeah.
Northport.
That's, see the inflow notch right there. It's awfully windy. So again, these are all severe thunderstorm warnings. Enough wind to knock down trees and power lines. And again, those extend back down to the southwest as well. But in Tuscaloosa, the lightning here is almost nonstop. We got a live shot from Tuscaloosa, I do
Tornado
believe.
warning, radar indicated Jefferson, Tuscaloosa until 9:15.
Okay. So, new tornado warning. This is going to be in effect for parts of Jefferson and Tuscaloosa counties for what you're looking at right here. So let's pop on the velocity.
I'm going to take off the lightning just because it's...
Right. And I want to put the polygons on, just the tornado warning polygons. It is for this segment right here. And this warning does not include the city of Tuscaloosa.
It hasn't
okay?
come populated in our system
Right. As soon as
yet.
it'll pop up in the system here in just a second. But I'll tell you what they're looking at. They're looking at this spot right here, and this is going to be up here around Holt. That is moving east at 50 miles an hour. So the tornado is here, moving that way. Tuscaloosa is here, so this is not affecting Tuscaloosa or Northport. This is east of you. It is Holt, back out here toward Brookwood, and then ultimately into Jefferson County. And there's your polygon that just popped up right here. So this is going to be a small part of Tuscaloosa and Jefferson counties. And again, the possible tornado is right here at Holt, all right? And that's going to be moving up this way. You've got Brookwood, Fleetwood, along Alabama Highway 216, right down through here. That goes back down toward 5 Points. This is going to be coming out here basically in coal country, a very sparsely populated part of northeastern Tuscaloosa County, north of Brookwood, north of Lakeview, well to the east of Tuscaloosa. So again, that's your tornadic circulation near Holt, near the southern part of Lake Tuscaloosa, the Black Warrior River. This is northeast of Tuscaloosa, moving away from you. So if you're in Tuscaloosa, Northport, you're okay. The concern, it's going to be northeastern Tuscaloosa County and western Jefferson County. All right, so this is going to include some of the communities out here. Look at Kellerman, that's in northeast Tuscaloosa County at 848. Let's take that track off. Let me show you the
let's get
areas.
a closer look down here.
Yeah, look at that deal. Wow.
Yeah.
But again, in Jefferson County, you see this includes places like Hueytown, Bessemer. It includes Oak Grove, Rock Creek, Sylvan Springs, McDonald Chapel. That part of Jefferson County, all right? This does not include the city of Birmingham at this point. City of Birmingham sits right here. You got Bessemer, Hueytown, Pleasant Grove, Oak Grove right out here. And that's your tornado couplet right there. And that is a very well-defined couplet.
It's one of the most well-defined we've seen so far today.
Yeah, that's nasty looking. And again, let's make it perfectly clear. This is not affecting the city of Tuscaloosa, not affecting the city of Northport. This is northeast of the city of Tuscaloosa, all right? So, and this is going to be passing north of Brookwood. Brookwood is here. That's Alabama Highway 216 going down toward Peterson and then down toward 5 Points. This is really over the southern part of Lake Tuscaloosa is where this thing is located. And it's moving very quickly to the east, and that's going to be coming out here, crossing the Warrior River, and then moving up into Jefferson County. And so the eastern part of Tuscaloosa County, the western part of Jefferson County. We're not seeing debris being lofted at this point.
Not yet, but I wonder if we get another. There we go. It looks like we're one scan behind the National Weather Service, and they're saying that it's showing up with this scan.
Right.
So as soon as we get this next scan in here on the radar, I'm sure it'll be showing.
Right, so there's a lot of things going on here, but we're focusing on the tornado warning for eastern Tuscaloosa and western Jefferson. This is your tornado indication on radar right here, and we, of course, are in darkness now. We can't show you all these cameras because we are in darkness. And quite frankly, this particular thunderstorm is out here in a very, very sparsely populated part of northeastern Tuscaloosa County. And we're not going to be able to do much. And I don't think we can show Windham Springs, can we?
No, we're still working on getting that computer back up.
Okay. So again, this is going to be coming through the northeastern part of Tuscaloosa County, north of Brookwood. Now, technically, Brookwood is in the Polygon, but the tornado circulation is right here. Brookwood is here, Peterson is down here, going to pass north of Brookwood, and it's going to be coming into Jefferson County. A lot of this is coal mining country out here. Not a lot of folks live out here. Some do, but a lot of this is owned by the big coal companies, and this is not a densely populated part of Tuscaloosa County. Once it crosses into Jefferson, then yeah, you get up into places like Oak Grove and Rock Creek and places like that. So Virginia mines. So if you're in that western part of Jefferson County, you need to be sheltered right now. Some of the communities affected April 8th, 1998. You know the ones I'm talking about. I'm not saying this is like that. That was an F5. This is not. But I'm just saying it's in that same general area. So again, if you're in Oak Grove or Rock Creek or Concord, Hueytown, Virginia Mines, North Johns, Sylvan Springs, that's where you want to be sheltered right now. And again, this is racing northeast right here. And this came through Tuscaloosa with some strong winds. Wouldn't be shocked if that knocked down some trees and power lines, and also very heavy rain and torrential amounts of lightning. But the concern right now is for the tornado. We got multiple flash flood warnings in effect. And I should mention that. A lot of you got that on your phone, your wireless emergency alerts. But just understand that we have the dual risk of flooding, strong straight line winds, and a tornado with this storm cluster coming out of Tuscaloosa County, moving toward Jefferson. And again, you can see some really extreme wind possibilities in this thing. What did that say? That's saying 100 knots? Yeah, that's going to be the shear. Okay, the gate, that's the shear. Okay, that's the delta. Mm-hmm. Okay. But again, the bottom line is that is a very strong indication of a tornado on radar. And again, you can see it right here. And that is moving away from Tuscaloosa.
There, we're finally picking up on that.
Away from Lake Tuscaloosa. And again, you can see debris that is being lofted right here. This is Lake Tuscaloosa right here. That's US 43.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that really ramped up
Wow.
with this latest scan.
That's indication of significant debris that is being lofted probably to 15,000 feet or more. So understand that this is a very dangerous thunderstorm. People in the path of this thing, you got to take shelter right now. A very impressive tornado debris signature about to cross the Warrior River. Warrior River, Yellow Creek out here, any place in eastern Tuscaloosa County. If you're close to this sucker, be in a safe place now. Don't fool around with this. And I want you wearing a helmet. If you've got one in your safe place, you can't be in a mobile home and you can't be in a car. That is the most intense tornado debris signature we've seen on radar all day today and all night tonight. And understand this is moving out of Tuscaloosa County right up here toward Jefferson. So this is a very serious situation. And again, we encourage everybody in Jefferson County, if you're listening to us near Oak Grove or Rock Creek or Concord or Virginia Mines or Mulga, Sylvan Springs, McDonald Chapel, Edgewater, all these places, that thing is moving right up in this direction. You've got some time. If you're in Jefferson County, if you're in a mobile home, you've got some time to go to a community shelter. You've got some time to go to a truck stop, a gas station, a convenience store, someplace that's open. But again, clearly the tornado debris signature is very intense, and that is what could be a very significant tornado right now. Very significant. I'll just leave it at that. Again, based on the atmospheric conditions that we have today. With that knowledge, with this radar signature, this could be a very significant tornado. Again, it's about to cross the Warrior, be crossing over into Jefferson County. The county line is right here. This is Tuscaloosa County. This is Jefferson. This is Highway 69. Wyndham Springs, it's right here. And again, that tornado is passing south of our tower site in Wyndham Springs, crossing the river, and that will be moving over here into Jefferson. This is the Warrior right here. Alliance is right up here. Birmingport is right over here. Again, you've got Oak Grove, which is about right here. And along with the chance of a tornado, you got strong straight line winds as well. And there could be some large hail and rain heavy enough to make some flash flooding problems here. You got all kind of hazards, maybe some hail as well within this storm. So again, this is a tornado warning in effect for eastern Tuscaloosa and western Jefferson counties. This does not include the city of Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa's down here. This is your tornado here, and this is moving away from you. So there's no risk at all to Tuscaloosa Northport. That thing's on the river. It's about to cross over into Jefferson County in about 5-10 minutes. Next over here, you got Oak Grove and Rock Creek. So if you're anywhere near those two places, we want you in a safe place. And you got a little bit of time if you're in Jefferson County, but you need to get to it now. And again, this is not a lot of people live in this part of Tuscaloosa County. Some of you do. But again, this is going to be a storm track, and this thing is racing along at a very quick pace. Let's see, the time right now is 8:42. This is suggesting Oak Grove about 9 o'clock, maybe a little sooner than that. And again, this is not the gospel. The times could vary, but it's an approximate arrival time. It's got Rock Creek here at 9:03. But the bottom line is, you need to be sheltered right now. We'll give you an all clear as soon as we can. This is racing along. It's not going to last long. All right, so the TDS probably bottomed out about a few minutes ago. I mean, it looked intense. It's still there. It's still there. We still have debris that is being lofted. But understand that this is still a serious situation. We have a confirmed tornado that is in eastern Tuscaloosa County on top of the Black Warrior River in coal country, up around Kellerman, moving northeast up toward Jefferson County. And next up, you're going to have this thing coming into Oak Grove and Rock Creek. It's probably a little northeast of the Bankhead Lock and Dam on the river right here. And I have been through that lock in an aluminum bass boat. There's your debris signature. That's the river. And again, this is very sparsely populated. I've flown over this thing in a helicopter a lot. And you look down there, and it's mostly owned by the coal companies. And not a lot of folks live down there, but some do. And if by chance you're in this general area, just be aware that you've got what could be a very significant tornado coming through. And next up is going to be Jefferson. Once this thing gets into Jefferson, all of a sudden you've got some population centers here. You've got places like Oak Grove and Rock Creek and Sylvan Springs, McDonald Chapel, Edgewater, Virginia Mines, Mulga. So just, and also in the Polygon, I'm calling out these places. Also in the Polygon, you've got places like Hueytown and Pleasant Grove. Pleasant Grove is here, Hueytown is here, Concord is right here. And you know the deal, Warrior River Road, that goes out from Hueytown to Concord, back out all the way to Rock Creek and Oak Grove. So anybody out there in that part of the county, and you know who you are, this is a night where you don't want to take chances with this, and you've had experience with tornadoes before, trust me. If you live in those places, you've dealt with this stuff for a long time, and you're dealing with another one tonight. This is somewhat reminiscent of the position of April 8th, 1998. And I'm not saying this is an EF5, but I'm saying it's reminiscent in the positioning of that same storm from 1998. And again, it's about 5 minutes away from crossing into Jefferson County. So it's going to come out of this sparsely populated area and then crossing over into Jefferson. Now we have a tornado warning for Coleman County. I've got a new tornado warning for Coleman County. This is going to be in effect until
chat 9:15.
Yeah, 9:15. This is for Coleman. We have a thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado that is located near the Smith Lake Dam in this area right in through here. All right. The Smith Lake Dam is about right there. My finger's on the position of the Smith Lake Dam, and that's going to be moving up this way. So if you're in places like Brushy Pond, Crane Hill, I think you're probably a bit north of this, but again, Brushy Pond up toward Good Hope and Coleman. The city of Coleman's in the Polygon. Good Hope. Hanceville is in the Polygon here. Vinemont, Berlin, Simcoe, Holly Pond. All of these places, you need to be sheltered right now. So this is a new tornado warning in effect for Coleman County, in effect until 9:15 tonight, for the possibility of a tornado that is moving up out of Smith Lake, the far southern part of Smith Lake, right up toward Brushy Pond, Good Hope, and the city of Coleman. So this is the second tornado warning Polygon we have working right now. This is for Coleman County, a tornado warning. All those places you need to be sheltered. Nobody should be driving. Remember that. That means Interstate 65 and US 31. We encourage absolutely no travel here. The worst possible place to be is a car. If you live in a trailer, a mobile home, you leave and go to your designated shelter. Now, you've got some time, especially if you're up here in Coleman. Now, this thing is kind of coming right through the far southern part of Smith Lake. You don't have as much time down there, but if you're in Coleman, Good Hope, Brushy Pond, you've got a little time to get to that safe place. So we got to work two tornadoes. We're going to bounce back and forth between the two tornadoes. This is the Coleman tornado. Let's go back to the Jefferson County tornado. They're both going to get equal time.
That tornado, there's indications, once again, we're seeing in the chat here that let me put on the correlation coefficient that we're seeing an increase in the debris signature with this one
All right,
as well.
so
once
this,
again.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's nasty looking. So understand, if you are out here in Oak Grove, Rock Creek, if you are in Concord, if you are in Hueytown, Edgewater, Sylvan Springs, McDonald Chapel, this is coming up in your general direction, and that could be a very significant tornado based on the debris signatures we're seeing here. So don't take this one lightly, all right? You take this one seriously. You go right to your safe place. You've done this before. You know the drill. Do it calmly. And remember, you know, big tornadoes, they're bad, but they're not going to affect everybody. Even for a big county, a big tornado is still relatively small, but it's going to affect some people here. And you've got to do the right thing. The course of least regret for you and your family is to be sheltered. Have that helmet on. Be in that closet, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. Get out of the trailers. Just get out of them and get into a designated shelter. Go to a convenience store that's open, some type of gas station, some type of site-built structure. And nobody should be driving out here. So again, this is a tornado that is coming up into Jefferson County out of Tuscaloosa County. Take cover now. Let's go back up to Coleman County. We're going to bounce between these two storms and give them equal time here. So that's storm number 1 to the south. This is storm number 2 to the north. And we don't have a debris signature on this one. That is a spike coming out of the radar site down here from Birmingham. But again, there's strong evidence of circulation that's coming up on Brushy Pond, on Smith Lake, and that's moving right up the chute toward Good Hope and Coleman. All right, so again, right in through here, coming right up this way. So we want everybody in Coleman County in that polygon to respect the polygon and get into a safe place now. Same idea. Nobody should be driving. We got major interstates in this one now. We got I-65 and US 31, but these are the approximate arrival times. You see Good Hope at about 9:03. Again, that might change a little bit, but that's an approximate arrival time as this thing comes right up toward Coleman. So this is a tornado warning for Coleman County. Most of the county is in this polygon. So we want you to be sheltered. The tornado warning is in effect until 9:15 for Coleman County. And again, it's going to be right down here in this general area, down toward Wilburn and Brushy Pond, then coming up toward Dodge City, Good Hope, and Coleman. It's a little noisy, I'll be honest with you. And let's look at the correlation coefficient really quickly and see if we have debris being lofted, and not really. We're not getting that really strong debris signature like we're seeing on the tornado coming into Jefferson County. But still, there's strong evidence there could be a tornado here. So this is a tornado warning in effect for Coleman County. And the main concern, the eastern part of Smith Lake, Brushy Pond, Good Hope, Coleman, Dodge City, be in a safe place. Let's go back down to the south. Tornado number 2. This is the southern tornado. This is the one coming into Jefferson County. And again, the organization, the good news is not as great as it was 5 minutes ago. Now, there's no doubt some really strong winds coming here, but look at this. You've got strong evidence of a tornado, and it looks like it might be a smidgen north of the polygon here, but that's going to be your signature right here on the northern edge of the polygon. Here's your county line. This is Tuscaloosa County. This is Jefferson County. And again, Oak Grove sits out about right here. Rock Creek sits about right here. All right? And, you know, that's a very interesting signature. It looks almost like that thing is moving north, the debris signature, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Looks like the debris is just being carried.
Right, it's being carried out by strong winds aloft, which sometimes happens. But let's put the velocity back on here. And the encouraging thing I can tell you is the fact that that's not really a tornado signature. Boy, we had a really, really tight rotation on this one.
Let me back it up and we can actually look at it. Because there is one point where...
Right there.
Yeah.
I see you. Let's run it forward now. So run it forward, and you'll see that it pretty much starts to fade away. And in the last couple of volume scans, it's gone. Now, it might cycle back, but that's great news if you're in the western part of Jefferson County. Now, strong winds, absolutely. There is strong evidence of high winds in through here that could knock down trees and power lines. No doubt about that. But again, at this point, that's not a tornado signature. Still, stay sheltered until we give you an all clear. Now, shortly, we're going to give an all clear to Tuscaloosa County. We can do that in probably about 1 minute. But for Jefferson, yes, you stay sheltered. So that's this lower storm. Let's go to the Coleman County storm. And again, the rotation is right here. All right, and that's going to be on the eastern side of Smith Lake, not too far from Crane Hill. And that's going to be moving out of Smith Lake, Brushy Pond, up toward Good Hope, Dodge City, Coleman. And this could be down at this point. We don't know that for sure. It's nighttime. We don't have cameras on these things. It is a very challenging thing working a big HP supercell event at night like this in Dixie Alley, but we do it all the time. You just can't see these things. But the Weather Service believes there's enough evidence of a tornado to keep this thing going. So Coleman, Vinemont, Huntsville, Good Hope, Berlin, Welty, Holly Pond, Simcoe, Dodge City, all these places we're calling out here, just stay in your safe place until this thing passes. It's going to move very quickly. These are racing along at 65 to 70 miles an hour. I mean, these are trucking down the road. So that's Coleman. Let's go back down to Jefferson County. We're going to work both of these and again, give them equal time. And really, there's not that much evidence of a tornado anymore here in the Jefferson County storm coming into Jefferson, which is certainly great news. But still, this storm could easily produce strong straight line winds that might be enough to knock down trees and power lines. So all right, they've canceled the tornado warning. Weather Service in Birmingham has canceled the tornado warning for Tuscaloosa and Jefferson. It's just not there anymore. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. This thing flared and it looked bad, and it's gone away, which is great news if you're in Jefferson. So again, if you are in this polygon, you can now get out of your safe place and go about your normal routine. Still pay attention. This thing could spin back up. But the Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning for Jefferson and Tuscaloosa counties. So this now is no longer on the board. We have a severe thunderstorm warning instead. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Jefferson County until 9:30 for the possibility of strong straight line winds. These storms are easily capable of producing winds high enough to knock down trees and power lines. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Jefferson County up into parts of Blount County. Let's go to our Coleman County tornado warning. So now we're working one tornado warning, and that's for Coleman County. This is where we're asking people still to be sheltered. If you're in Jefferson County, that warning is over. It's been canceled. So again, we don't see any debris being lofted. We're seeing a fairly noisy pattern, but a couple of spots that could possibly produce a tornado. And again, these spots are going to be crossing over Interstate 65, which is right here, US 31, which is right here. That's US Highway 278 going out toward Jones Chapel. But this circulation is over the eastern part of Smith Lake, and really and truly, my biggest concern here is strong straight line winds. We have had storms like this throughout the day today and the night tonight, producing really strong winds, knocking down trees and power lines. And that probably is happening right now with this storm cluster coming up into the core of Coleman County. It's happening on top of Smith Lake right now. And I have been on Smith Lake with storms with big old trees coming down. That is not fun. And that storm is going to roar off the lake and come into Coleman County with the possibility of strong winds. And again, there could be an isolated tornado in this spot right in through here near Crane Hill. And again, you can see it's coming up in the general direction of Coleman. So as long as that Polygon warning is in effect, you respect the Polygon, you stay sheltered. And that's the only tornado warning we have in the entire state right now. It's this warning in effect for Coleman County, including the city of Coleman, and that is in effect until 9/15.
And I do want to point out there's a special mesoscale discussion that just came out just saying to keep an eye on central Alabama over the next couple hours.
Yeah, let me tell you, everything is primed for tornadoes here. I mean, I know it's been quiet the last hour or so, but everything is primed. With the dynamic forcing coming into play and the volatility of this air mass, it's very ripe for severe weather. So let's keep our eye on the ball here for the next few hours. It'll be over by 1, 2 a.m. It's coming up on 9 o'clock. Give us 3, 4, 5 hours. We'll get this stuff out of here. But again, we don't see any debris being lofted on radar, which is good. But still, let's go back to the velocity. And we could easily see some pretty strong winds coming right up into the city of Coleman, Good Hope, Huntsville. Again, you got this area here, this area down here. It's hard to pinpoint a specific spot. Sometimes we can do that, sometimes we can't. But the whole polygon, you just need to stay sheltered. So as far east as Holly Pond, as far east as Fairview. All right, and then back over toward Simcoe, Berlin, Coleman, then down to Good Hope, Dodge City, We can almost give an all clear, not quite yet, to Crane Hill and Brushy Pond. Give it about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll give you an all clear over there close to the lake. But that whole mass is coming right into Coleman. Let's put the reflectivity back on here. And the other thing, it's heavy rain. The rains are tremendous. You're going to have some flash flooding problems here. No doubt about that. You might have some small hail falling, but these rains are just absolutely tremendous coming through parts of Coleman County. And let's show the big picture really quickly. I want to show just a big DMA view with the Birmingham Radar. And again, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Jefferson County and for Blount County. The tornado warning in effect for Coleman County. And we're going to watch this air down to the south and east of Birmingham is just very ripe and unstable. So we got to watch this stuff. But understand the other problem is really heavy rain. We could easily see some flash flooding in this zone from near Eva in Morgan County all the way down to Utah in Greene County. The rains are just tremendous. Some spots might see 2-3 inches of rain over the next couple of hours, and we do have a number of counties under flash flood warnings, but the severe thunderstorm warnings are in effect for parts of Blount, Jefferson, and far and eastern Tuscaloosa counties, and for Walker County as well. But let's go back to the Coleman County tornado warning. We tend to focus on these because tornadoes, of course, are an immediate threat to life, and that's our priority. So this is the reflectivity, and now this is the velocity. And again, this is not really your classic tight, super duper tornado circulation here, but again, it seems like this is the one the Weather Service is worried about, and this was about to cross over Interstate 65 now below Good Hope, coming up on Huntsville. So, and again, the thing about this, we're kind of in a different world right now. I sometimes tend to forget that, but I was about to say for all the students at Wallace State and things like that, but people are home. We have a stay-at-home order for the state, so you are typically home right now. So if you're in Huntsville, all the way up to Coleman, up Highway 31, you want to be sheltered, and you want to stay there until we give you an all clear. This is not a classic tornado signature, but it doesn't matter. We have had damage with storms that look just like this today, and in some cases, tornado damage. So clearly stay sheltered as long as that tornado warning is in effect. That is the only tornado warning in effect for the entire state at this time.
There actually was just a new one down in my old TV market, down in the Mobile TV market, that's been issued for parts of Washington and Clark County.
Yeah, that's some ripe air down there in southwest Alabama. So that's in effect for southwest Alabama. But again, let's put the reflectivity back on here. This is velocity, and this is reflectivity. And you can see, by the way, the severe weather risk is ended back here for the shoals. The tornado watch has been canceled. Now, there's a band of storms back in Arkansas that could be sweeping through during the pre-dawn hours, but they should be weakening. We don't expect any severe weather with that. This is the main concern right in through here. And again, there's just torrents of rain. We have a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning, and we have areas of potentially damaging winds. And this is the tornado warning down there in southwest Alabama for Washington County. But this air down and through here, it's just been untouched, and we could easily see more tornado warnings later tonight. So I don't think we're done with this, but let's go back up to Coleman County, and we'll take a look at the one tornado warning we currently have in effect. And again, this is for much of Coleman County for a storm that's coming out of Smith Lake. It's pouring, just pouring rain all throughout Coleman County. This is the kind of deal where if you're trying to chase this thing at night, good luck with that. It's just a wall of water in darkness with lightning. But again, you know, I think to me this is more of a high wind threat than a tornado threat. But still, I would be sheltered. Until this warning goes away, just stay sheltered. And I often say it doesn't really matter if the winds are straight line or if they're tornado-type winds. You need to be in a safe place. And again, you can see those higher winds coming up into I-65 and US 31 in the city of Coleman and Good Hope and Huntsville. So in all of those places, the weather's not good right now, and the winds could increase, and there might be a small tornado in there somewhere. So just stay sheltered until all of this passes. We should be able to give you an all clear in Coleman County from this particular situation by 9:15. That's when this warning is set to expire. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Blount County as all this comes into Blount. For Jefferson County, Walker County is under a severe thunderstorm warning, and northeastern Tuscaloosa County is under a severe thunderstorm warning. And again, these winds coming into Birmingham could be very high, but they're not. Let me tell you what, we had a really nasty looking tornado signature coming right up toward Oak Grove and Rock Creek. That went away, thank goodness, but still, this line segment is capable of producing strong straight line winds that could easily knock down trees and power lines. So these are severe thunderstorm warnings for Jefferson, Walker, Blount, and a tornado warning for Coleman County. So let's go back into Coleman County and take a closer look at this.
Looks like it's starting to tighten up a bit.
Yeah, it's right there. This is the circulation of concern. It's right on Interstate 65 around Dodge City. The Dodge City exit is where Highway 69 goes south down toward Bremen and Wilburn and Bugtussle. And this is US 31 right over here. Huntsville is right here. So this thing is going to be moving just like this, and most likely it's going to cross US 31 somewhere between Huntsville and Coleman. But again, the important thing is that you stay sheltered until we give you an all clear.
It
We
almost
certainly
looks like maybe
can't do that.
just a little bit of something going on here too.
Yeah, these have had these multiple little rotations throughout the evening. These have been coming and going. That would be in the southern part of the Polygon. But the reason for the warning, it's this one right here that is crossing Interstate 65. It's about to cross over Highway 31 north of Wallace State, south of downtown Coleman, and then ultimately coming out here toward Walter and Holly Pond along Alabama Highway 91, and then ultimately US Highway 278, and that will probably cross over into northern Blount County. Again, Blountsville is right here. That's US Highway 231 right here. This is US 278. So if you're in northern Blount, be aware that you might have a warning if this continues. But again, for now, the warning is in effect for Coleman County. I've not seen of any specific damage reports at this point.
Severe thunderstorm warning for Tuscaloosa has been canceled, so that is good news.
Yeah, so the deal is the severe thunderstorm, the line of severe storms is out of Tuscaloosa County. It's exclusively in Jefferson County right now. So that's the situation there. And again, watching.
Might be showing something in CC near Huntsville. It looks messy.
Yeah, it's very messy at this point. It's really hard to see any debris being lofted.
Yeah. It looks like.
So anyway, let's kind of do a reset here. It's 9:05. This is James Spann with Taylor Sarallo back in the Weather Center. We are watching multiple storms. Let's put the reflectivity back on here. Got a line of severe storms now from Coleman down to Jasper and Tuscaloosa. Areas of heavier winds are coming into the Birmingham Metro. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Jefferson and Blount, Walker counties. It's pouring rain in Tuscaloosa, but the storms there are not showing any sign of high winds. Let's look at the velocity display. We'll pop on the velocity, and again, you see that right there. Let's zoom into that. This is coming into the western part of the city of Birmingham, and this could be enough winds to knock down trees and power lines right here. So again, this coming into places like Pleasant Grove, Hueytown, Sylvan Springs, McDonald Chapel, Pratt City, Edgewater, Adamsville, Graysville, and ultimately downtown Birmingham. So very strong winds are likely with this batch of storms right here. Let's go up to Coleman County if we can, and we'll take a look at that.
It's kind of messy, but
situation up there. Right. So again, there's not really a tight couplet in here. We've seen it coming and going, and this looks more like a damaging wind situation. But still, we've got in Coleman County a line of severe storms, and there could be within this area a small tornado. We don't see evidence of debris being lofted. We don't see a very tight couplet on radar, but there could be easily strong winds, strong enough to knock down trees and power lines. So the harm in staying sheltered, there's no harm in that. That's the right thing to do. The warning for Coleman County is set to expire at 9:15, and you can see 76-mile-per-hour winds in the radar beam height, which is off the ground. It's not that windy down at the surface, but there could be winds of 50, 55, 60 miles an hour easily. So strong winds coming through central and eastern Coleman County. If you're back in Crane Hill, Brushy Pond, the severe weather, the danger of a tornado is ended. I'll put it that way. The risk of a tornado is basically now coming up into Coleman, Good Hope, and Huntsville, and Vinemont. These places right in through here. The winds will likely increase, and there could be within that the possibility of a small tornado. So just be aware of that. And we're watching for damage reports, and I've not seen any so far.
I haven't seen any. I just keep saying that they have been talking about potential for some messy CC, but to me it looks like
right. And,
just noise.
But the problem is we might have damage, and at night it's just a lot harder to see that. So again, we are in the process of covering a stormy night across Alabama. I'm James Spann with Taylor Sarallo here. It's been a pretty wild day today if you've been watching us throughout the course of the day. We have one tornado warning in effect now. This is for Coleman County, and there's really not a well-defined indication of a tornado here. There's just not. But there's indication of strong winds. So let's stay sheltered until this passes on through, and that should be out of the county by 9:15. The warning here is in effect until 9:15 tonight. And that's the one tornado warning we have for Coleman County. And again, the highest winds are near the interstate, I-65 and US 31, moving into the eastern part of the county, over here toward Walter, Berlin, Holly Pond, Simcoe, Fairview, places like that. The winds will increase, and there might be a small tornado in there, but it's just hard to pick that out on radar at this point. Let's go to the Birmingham Metro and take a look at the storms coming in to Birmingham. Again, the same problem. It's going to be high wind, enough to knock down trees and power lines. Again, you can see this feature right in through here. This is coming through Pleasant Grove and Hueytown. That'll be ultimately coming into downtown Birmingham here in about 10 minutes or so. This is where we could see some very strong winds, very strong push coming out of here. So Pleasant Grove, Hueytown, Bessemer, Lipscomb, ultimately into Inslee, western part of Birmingham, downtown Birmingham, and then the I-65 corridor. Homewood, Vestavia Hills, Mountain Brook, Hoover, places like that. So the winds could really pick up if you live in those places. There is no evidence of a tornado, none. The evidence is of strong straight-line winds, and that's the reason there's no tornado warning in effect for the Birmingham Metro. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for the Birmingham Metro. The one tornado warning for our end of the state, it's this one. This is for Coleman County, and again, we're watching where you can see some really strong wind velocities here. The winds are really strong coming down through Interstate 65 and US 31. And from time to time, we've seen a couplet coming through areas just south of Coleman. And that's the reason the Weather Service in Huntsville has posted a tornado warning here. And the warning will stay in effect until 9:15. At this moment, that's in 6 minutes, they're not planning on probably extending that into Blount. But there's severe thunderstorm warnings already in effect for Blount, and I think that's probably what's going to cover most of this up here in this big rain mass. As opposed to tornado warnings, we'll have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. The greater tornado concern is down to the south over the southern part of the state. I say southern part of our area, south of Interstate 20. That's where the air is more unstable and ripe, where it's just not really been altered that much today down here. The dew points are really high. You walk outside, you can feel it tonight. And as the dynamic forcing comes into play, there could be a few tornadoes, maybe significant tornadoes. Let me tell you what, that thing coming through northern Tuscaloosa County, that was a big, bad-looking tornado on radar. Thankfully, it was in a very sparsely populated area, north of Brookwood, north of Peterson, north of Lakeview. And by the time it got to the Jefferson County line, it just dissipated.
At the BMX chat here, and let's see if we can go back in here and investigate the storm. Indications that maybe we're starting to see a debris signature.
Let's look at BMX. I think John DeBlock's looking from Birmingham, or maybe it's that.
Unless we might just still be one scan behind them like we were earlier.
Yeah. Again, this is a spike. This is a Huntsville radar, right?
Yeah. This is BMX.
Okay. Well, spike coming up from the south. If there is a TDS in there, it's going to be this spot right here. This is between Interstate 65 and US 31, north of Huntsville, south of Coleman. And again, that will ultimately come out here crossing Alabama Highway 91, which is this road right here. Goes from Huntsville back up to Walter and Holly Pond. So we'll see if that is a TDS. It's kind of hard to tell on one volume scan, but in just a second, we'll probably get another update on that. I'm watching the various chats, and so far I've not seen any specific damage out of this. But whatever that thing was, it's crossed over Interstate 65, and the greater wind potential is now east of Interstate 65. Again, Coleman is here. Again, I just don't know. I don't know if I'd call that a TDS or not. That's within a spike, and it might not be. Let's go to the velocity and take a look at that real quick. Yeah, right there. That's probably the best couplet we've seen on here in a while. So we've got strong indication of rotation now just south of US 278, south of Berlin. And that's moving over here in the direction of Holly Pond, which is right here. So again, if you are, so the greatest danger of a tornado is east of Coleman right now, I'll tell you that. And if you're down that 278 corridor from Berlin back over to Holly Pond, you just might want to be in a safe place. Down 91, Alabama 91, from Holly Pond down to Huntsville, you need to be in a safe place. And I would not be driving on US 278 east of Coleman or Alabama 91 north of Huntsville up to Holly Pond. Let's let this thing clear out and we'll just see. So again, that's the best looking couplet we've seen on radar in the last maybe 15 minutes, and that continues to move on to the east. So the tornado risk is pretty much ended for Coleman. The weather's not good. It's raining. It's windy and there's thunder and lightning. But in terms of the tornado threat is now to the east. So we're going to give an all clear from Interstate 65 back to the west. So Coleman, back over to Jones Chapel, down to Dodge City, Good Hope, Brushy Pond, all those places, an all clear from the tornado threat for you. I'm not saying the weather's good, it's not. But in terms of the tornado danger, the main danger is now east of Interstate 65 and east of US 31. And the greatest concern is down here around Welty. And again, that tornado.
We have extended now that tornado warning into Blount County.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense because now it's ramped up. So the Weather Service in Birmingham is posting a tornado warning for northern Blount County for this rotation right here. Again, this is the county line right here. This is Blountsville and this is Sneed, and it's going to be for the far northern part of Blount County. This will not affect Aniana. Again, that's the tornado. You can see the warning is going to the Polygon is probably going to go down to about right here. I think Blountsville will probably be in the Polygon. You'll see it pop up in a minute. Sneed, but Aniana, no. Cleveland, no. Tornado here, moving in this direction like that. So the far northern part of Blount County will be under a tornado warning. Now the rest of Blount County is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Jefferson County is under a severe thunderstorm warning, again for the possibility of strong straight line winds. Those winds could be enough to knock down trees and power lines. So that's the situation there. But again, let's take a closer look at our couplet one more time here. You can see that velocity couplet is here. It's almost right on top of Holly Pond. And home of the Broncos. And that'll be crossing over into Blount. Still done. Okay, look at that. That's a tiny polygon. So we've got Marshall under a tornado warning. And it does not include Blountsville. In fact, let's zoom in tighter to this. This is about as tiny of a polygon as you'll ever get for a county. Keep on going tight. Yeah, all right, so it's right here.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
That's a little
that is a
polygon.
tiny, tiny segment of Blount County north of US 278. So again, this will not affect Blountsville. This will not affect Cleveland. This will not affect Aniana. This will not affect Locust Fork or Hayden. This is a little bitty part of northern Blount County. And if you live up here, you go to a safe place. All right, this is US 231 right here coming out of Blount County going up toward Arab and Joppa. So you want to be sheltered if you are up here in the far northern part of Blount County, and then the warning extends over into Marshall County, which is the next county over. So that's the current setup here. And again, that possible tornado is near Holly Pond, moving east into extreme northern Blount County. So let's go down to Birmingham real quick. We'll check the Birmingham Storm. And again, we have no tornado warning for the Birmingham Metro. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. And strong winds are likely coming through the western suburbs of Birmingham. Graysville, Forestdale, Fairfield, Inslee, down toward Bessemer, Lipscomb, Brighton. You see that spot right there. That's coming right into the downtown area. Downtown Birmingham is right here. And by the way, this thing says Fairfield. Fairfield is not right there. Fairfield is actually right there. Why it says that, I don't know. But again, this is Birmingham, Fultondale, Gardendale, North Birmingham, Norwood, Mountain Brook, Homewood, Vestavia Hills. So just be aware that strong winds that are easily strong enough to knock down trees and power lines are coming into downtown Birmingham. So that's the situation there. I'll tell you what's on Live View Remote 12? I'm trying to see what we got up here. And I don't know if we have a producer back there in the back. Okay, we've had some reports of potential damage and injuries in Carbon Hill in Walker County. We do not know if this is confirmed, but some ambulances have been staged up there and they're going to check on it. This is the storm that was in Carbon Hill probably an hour ago. And again, our crews are monitoring that, and we'll get back to them as soon as they find out additional information. But again, that is up in the western part of Walker County at Carbon Hill from a storm that came through earlier tonight. And we have reports, not confirmed, of damage and some injuries there. And those were ambulances that were in a staging area that were going in to that part of Carbon Hill. So we will find out later what's happened there. We've got crews out in the field tonight. But again, this is Coleman County, Morgan, Marshall, Blount. And the tornado signature, quite frankly, has kind of gone away. These up in this big rain mass, they've been coming and going. These are not long-lasting, long-track tornadoes. These are short-lived tornadoes that are in this big rain mass. The concern for the longer track tornadoes, it's down to the south of Interstate 20 for the rest of tonight, so just be aware of that. But these things have, from time to time, they flare and they try and get going, and then they just go away. And it looks as though the signature is weakened a good bit, but still, forget all that. If you are in northeastern Coleman County, Baileyton, Joppa, Arab, Holly Pond, in that northern tip of Blount County, I mean, this doesn't even include Sneed. All right, this is the just a little segment of Blount County up and through here, and then back up into Marshall. I would stay sheltered as this thing comes on through here. That is a tornado warning for extreme northern Blount. Severe thunderstorm warning continues for Blount and Jefferson until 9:30 for the possibility of damaging straight line winds. That's for the next 12 minutes or so. And again, let's do a reset here. Let's show the DMA view and put on reflectivity. And this is what we've got. That's the Huntsville Radar. Let's pop on Birmingham. And you can see this line of strong storms stretching all the way from near Scottsboro down to east of Coleman, west of Birmingham, down to Tuscaloosa. And there's no evidence of any strong winds in Tuscaloosa, severe type winds. That would be 58 miles per hour. So no warnings here. The severe thunderstorm warnings are currently in effect for parts of Jefferson County and for parts of Blount County. All right, right in through here. That's a tornado warning that's in effect for extreme northeastern Coleman, the northern tip of Blount, and Marshall counties. And there's a tornado watch until midnight tonight. Let's put the velocity back on. Let's take a look at Birmingham. We have a band of strong winds. And I don't think we have the Skycam network yet, do we? We do not. All right. So strong winds coming into downtown Birmingham, right in through here. And this could be enough to knock down trees and power lines. They're in the western side of the city now. They'll be coming through Birmingham, Fultondale, North Birmingham. They'll be coming through Forestdale and Fultondale with potential for strong winds. There's no evidence of a tornado. There's no tornado warning here. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for the possibility of strong straight-line winds. So that's the activity in Birmingham. Let's go up north. We'll take a look at what's happening in that northern tip of Blount County, and the signature is really diminished when it comes to detecting a possible tornado up and through here. But still, again, I think this is Birmingham. We'll flip it back over to High Top. High Top gives us a better view of this thing. And again, that's not really a tornado signature right here. This is representative of strong winds. But still, if you're in the community of Summit, that's on US 231, north of Highway 278, I would be sheltered until the storm exits the area. And again, that continues moving on to the east. That is the only the only tornado warning in our television market is the only tornado warning for northern Blount and northeastern Coleman counties. We now have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Blount, Etowah, Jefferson, St. Clair, and Shelby until 10:30. So let's expand this. Let's put the reflectivity back on, and we'll take a look at these new warnings here. So here's your new warnings. This is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Shelby, Jefferson, St. Clair, Etowah counties, and Jefferson. And this will be in effect until 10:30 tonight. The main problem here, damaging straight line winds. We don't see any evidence of a tornado in through here. That might change, but you can see this line of storms will be pushing through with a chance of strong winds. So we now have severe thunderstorm warnings for Blount, Etowah, St. Clair, northern Shelby, and Jefferson counties. And within these areas, right in through here, we have the chance of strong winds that exceed 58 miles per hour. That's the severe criteria. 58 mile per hour winds, or hail 1 inch or larger in diameter. Don't think we have that size hail, but I do think we might see that kind of wind in spots. Maybe not everywhere, but in spots. And up here, this is a tornado warning, and you can see this is in effect for northeastern Coleman, the northern tip of Blount, parts of Morgan, parts of Marshall counties. And that segment is moving through extreme northern Blount, and we'll put on the velocity, and let's see if we can find a tornado in here. We had a pretty good signature for a while, and you can still see an area of enhanced wind right in through here. And right in this region here, there could be a tornado that's passing around Baileyton, Joppa, Arab, in that area. And I would stay sheltered. The danger is over for Coleman in terms of a tornado. If you're in Coleman, Good Hope, Dodge City, Brushy Pond, Arkadelphia, the risk of a tornado is ended for you. The main concern, it's from Holly Pond, again, right back up here toward Joppa and Arab. And that segment will be crossing through northern Blount over into Marshall. And let's look at that Holly Pond a little closer. It's kind of hard to tell with all the flashing colors. That there could be a small tornado very close to Holly Pond right now. Again, you should have been.
This is also the BMX radar.
Okay.
So we are looking pretty high up.
Yeah, that's pretty. Let's go to the high top radar. We'll kind of get a different view, and this will show a lower slice of these storms. And yeah, we're looking with the Birmingham radar. That was a higher view. This is a lower view. This is in the lower levels, and there's no real evidence of a tornado in through here. But strong winds, yes. But still, for a while longer, that warning is going to be in effect for the northern tip of Blount County. And most of the reports I'm seeing, the reports involve flooding. And there's a lot of that going on here because of all of this excessive rain that we're having tonight. I've not seen that many reports of trees down in the last 30 minutes. The most significant issue, now can we take this RIM 7, what we got with the, where's this from, Stephen? Okay. I think we just lost that shot. That might be from Carbon Hill. I don't know that for sure. We had a very strong tornado signature that came across Carbon Hill and through parts of Walker, northern Walker, and Winston counties. And that's some of the damage from that. And we'll go back to that live shot as soon as we can establish that link again. Again, we're trying to report just the facts. We'll tell you what we know. We're not going to tell you what we don't know. But again, strong winds coming through northern Blount, northeastern Coleman, Marshall counties. Tornado warning in effect here. And I would imagine the warning for Blount, that northern tip of Blount County, is going to expire pretty soon. And remember, if you hear a warning and you hear the name of your county, be sure and check to see if you're in the Polygon. If you're not, don't worry about it. If you are, you do something about it. And these tornado warnings are issued for small parts of counties, not big parts, because tornadoes are small compared to a whole county. And the storm-based warnings went into effect 11 or 12 years ago. They've been around for a long time. So, and again, that's a classic example of a little sliver of a county. If you're in Aniana, there's no problem here with this storm. You've had problems earlier tonight. There's been a lot of trees down in Blount County, a lot. We've got a lot of trees down. We had one long-lasting supercell, one long-track supercell that dropped multiple tornadoes, multiple instances of straight-line winds from Pickens County to Cherokee County, right across the northern part of the state. And we've got a lot of folks with chainsaws, and they're trying to clean up tonight. There's been a lot of damage, some injuries. We don't know the extent of the injuries, but the good news I can tell you, in our state, we've had no loss of life tonight. In Mississippi, 6 people were killed south of Jackson from a violent tornado. But again, for our state tonight, we've had no loss of life, which is always our goal. Okay. Okay, so what they were, if we got that live shot, they are going door to door in Carbon Hill through a mobile home park, checking to be sure that everybody is okay. So again, I don't know if this is related to tornado damage or to flooding damage, but this is near the old elementary and junior high in Carbon Hill. And it could be flooding, it could be wind, it could be a combination of both. But again, first responders are going from door to door, checking on the welfare of the folks that are living in this mobile home park there in Carbon Hill. And the good news, I've not had any confirmed reports of injuries from this, but we've got obviously our crews on the scene, and they're working to find out additional information. But it sure looks like there's a lot of water there, and flooding is a big concern. We've got flash flood warnings in effect for a lot of counties across the state, and they are going door to door checking on folks in the western part of Walker County at Carbon Hills. So we will join them back in just a second. We'll go back to the radar quickly, and again, we are watching this area of rotation right here, which is now clearly out of Blount County. And this is up in Marshall County. This is US 431. Gunnersville is right here. So that's a pretty good looking circulation center, but that's in Marshall County. That's up in the Huntsville television market. They're served by the Huntsville stations, and that's passing well to the north of Blount County. This is northern Blount County, but still for a few more minutes they'll keep that tornado warning Polygon in effect. I would imagine that's going to be canceled fairly soon. Let's pop the reflectivity back on here. And this will let's show all this heavy rain that's falling. And yeah, it's just really coming down in buckets. This is high top. Let's go back to the Birmingham Radar, Shelby County Airport, and you can see that excessively heavy rain falling in parts of western Blount, eastern Coleman counties. Jefferson County's about to get just a soaker in downtown Birmingham, then down into Tuscaloosa County. And within this line segment, the greatest potential for damaging winds seems to be up in this region here. These are all severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for northern Shelby County. This would include basically from Hoover back over toward Chelsea and points north. Jefferson County is under a severe thunderstorm warning. Blount, Etowah, St. Clair. As this line comes in, there could be enough wind to knock down trees and power lines. So that's the reason for those severe thunderstorm warnings. The only tornado warning in effect for our TV market, it's this one. In fact, let's go to the western part of Birmingham. This is what it looks like. This is the incoming storm. This is in Inslee, and the rain and the wind will be picking up in that region here pretty soon as we have potential for strong, maybe damaging straight line winds in that region. Looking at the Weather Service out of Huntsville, they're going to continue that tornado warning for the far northeastern corner of Coleman County and Marshall County. The tornado is near Arab, moving northeast at 65. It's basically moving out of Coleman County, and the problem is now into Marshall County. All right, so again, this is Birmingham, and again, we're watching this line segment. It looks like the higher winds have really diminished a good bit across the Birmingham Metro, which is good. Coming into the city, the wind velocities were much higher on radar. They've actually diminished over the last 15 minutes. We see some higher velocities over Blount County up around Hayden and Nectar. And again, you might see enough wind up here to knock down some trees. Keep in mind the ground is getting awfully soaked for these places that have seen multiple rounds of rain and storms today. And with saturated soil, strong thunderstorm winds, sometimes trees go down relatively easy here. So again, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings for Jefferson, northern Shelby, Blount, St. Clair, and Etowah counties. As this line of storms moves on to the east, a little bitty segment of Blount County is under a tornado warning, and that tornado warning is due to expire pretty soon for northern Blount, 9:45, and I think they'll cancel that before 9:45. The good news, the Weather Service is starting to clear out some of the counties in the tornado watch. Let's put our watch warning map up in here, Taylor, and this is going to show the current watches and warnings. So let's clear out some people. That's the good news people want to hear. So we have the tornado watch has been canceled for Pickens, Fayette, Lamar, Winston, and Marion. And just minutes ago, the Weather Service in Birmingham has canceled the tornado watch for Walker. So again, the tornado watch has been canceled for Pickens, Fayette, Walker, Winston, Marion, and Lamar counties. And as the line continues moving on to the east, that watch will continue to be cleared. Now, there's another batch of storms on the Mississippi River. That will not produce tornadoes. This will produce maybe gusty winds and hail. And this is coming into the Mississippi Delta. That's a severe thunderstorm watch that includes Memphis down toward Greenville and Greenwood, Mississippi. And we'll watch those storms. We expect those to weaken as they move in here after midnight tonight. The main concern, quite frankly, for me, is for areas south and east of Birmingham, down and through here. This is where the air has not really been touched. Montgomery hit 84 today with the dew point up in the 70s. The air is really ripe, and volatile. And with a dynamic storm coming in, I wouldn't be shocked if we had a few tornadoes in this region and here over the next 4 hours. So again, if you are south and east of Birmingham especially, just be sure you can hear warnings. A lot of people, sometimes they go to bed at 9:30 at night. Just be sure you got that weather radio by your bed or your phone with wireless emergency alerts enabled, so you'll wake up if there's a warning. And if there is one, we'll be here. We're not going anywhere. So again, that's the current watch warning situation. And again, you saw Walker County going away, so they have been cleared now from the tornado watch. There's a tornado warning down in southwest Alabama for Clark County. That's down to the south of Marengo County. We'll keep an eye on that. If that holds together, that could affect places like Montgomery and Lake Martin. We'll see. But up this way, we've got flash flood warnings in effect for many counties: Tuscaloosa, Walker, Jefferson, Blount. Again, these maroon shades in here, those are flash flood warnings in effect. And again, the tornado warning, extreme northeastern Coleman, extreme northern Blount, and that's going to be chopped off in a matter of minutes. That rotation is clearly into Marshall County right now. It's out of Blount, it's out of Coleman County, so in theory, you're not in danger anymore. And that warning should be canceled in any minute now for parts of northern Blount and northeastern Coleman counties. But again, let's go to Carbon Hill, since we don't have any active warnings in our part of the state. Wow. Okay, this is the Nauvoo Lane Mobile Home Park in Carbon Hill. And our reporters there have noted trailers that have been flipped over and other damage to these mobile homes up and through here. Yeah, I hope we have no injuries. I don't know about the injury situation. Okay, so the Walker County Sheriff is telling us now that nobody is being allowed in the town of Carbon Hill except for first responders. So again, according to the Walker County Sheriff's Office, nobody is being allowed in the town of Carbon Hill because they're doing damage assessment and search and rescue, trying to help people. That is a mobile home park that, again, has been heavily... Let's go back to that video if we can. Wow. This is a storm that came through there. We noticed that tornado debris signature with that storm crossing over Interstate 22. We know that debris was being lofted. You never know where, and you just hate to think that it's from where somebody lives. You hope that it's trees, but in this case, it looks like that debris was from indeed a populated city, which is Carbon Hill. So again, this is live coming from Carbon Hill. And the first responders are going from door to door, checking on residents in this mobile home park to see if they're okay. And I know that at one point they had ambulances that were staged waiting to go in. They had to cut their way in there, and they managed to get in there. And now you can see they're going from door to door looking to be sure that everybody is okay. Beyond that, I don't know much more in terms of what's happening up and through here, but there's no, and look at that, goodness gracious. This is not good. That mobile home is pretty much destroyed. And whether anybody was in that thing, I don't know. We just don't know. There's a lot of things we can't tell you right now. But again, you're looking live at Carbon Hill in Walker County. This is northwest of Jasper. And let me just say, while we're watching this, we have no active tornado warnings in effect for any part of our viewing area. We have a lot of flash flood warnings. We have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. Okay, and we're going to talk with Stephen Quinn here in just a second, but what I want to do, if we can do a double box, I want to leave that video up while we just tell you what's going on in terms of the weather. There is no tornado warning in effect for any part of our viewing area, all right? No tornado warning in effect. We do have a tornado warning in effect for Marshall County up in the Tennessee Valley. We have a tornado warning in effect down here. And tell you what, let's take a closer look. That looks like that might be South Marengo County.
It is.
Yeah, let's go down to South Marengo County, and that is a tornado warning in effect. This is going to be down here about Sweetwater, all right? There's Sweetwater over here. This is U.S. Highway 43, and we've got a possible tornado crossing Highway 43 that's a little to the southeast of Sweetwater. Now, Marengo County is in the Montgomery television market. It's not ours, but a lot of people watch us down here. So again, this is a possible tornado that's going to be crossing through the far southeastern part of Marengo County. This is far south of Linden, far south of Demopolis. So just wanted to show that. But for the rest of our area, let's go back up here real quick. We've got severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for northern Shelby, for St. Clair, Etowah, Blount, parts of Jefferson counties. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. These tornado warnings are not in our area. That's up in Marshall County. They're served by the Huntsville television market. Those warnings do include parts of Marshall County, but where we are, severe thunderstorm warnings. Northern Shelby, St. Clair, Etowah, Blount, parts of Jefferson. Now let's go quickly to Stephen Quinn, who's up in that tornado damaged area or storm damaged area in Carbon Hill. Stephen, what you got up there?
Hey, James, I'm off of Nauvoo Lane in the trailer park. You mentioned it so many times, not a place you want to be. Here's the reason why. As you can see here, sheriff's deputies with Walker County right now, they're going door to door here, checking this area to make sure there's nobody inside any of these trailers. Now, luckily enough, Carbon Hills Fire and Rescue was over here earlier. They tell us they've done the same thing in this area, and they tell us everyone appears to have been accounted for. Nobody was hurt. A lot of people, in fact, one woman I just spoke to said she made sure to get out, get into her son-in-law's house, and was not here in this trailer park when that storm hit with damage that appears consistent with a tornado or some sort of severe weather. I'm going to walk with you if you can, Brendan. Let's go over here and just give you a better sense as we walk this way and kind of show you some of the damage so you get a sense of how strong this is. It's very dark out here. James, one thing I will tell you is there is no power throughout most of Carbon Hill. But if you look at this trailer, this gives you a sense of the strength of the storm that we were dealing with out here. And again, so far, no reports of any damage or injuries associated with this. It is very early. There are a lot of Walker County Sheriff's deputies, as well as first responders, paramedics that are on their way to this area right now because of the damage that we're dealing with. We're working with them to get some more information. But James, this shows you just kind of the damage that we're dealing with here in Carbon Hill.
Is there any indication, Stephen, that people were they in shelters? Do you know if anybody was in these mobile homes? Some of this damage looks horrific.
Yeah. It is. It's extensive. What I can tell you is I know there was someone, and I've just gotten over here, someone was knocking on a door over there. Believe it or not, James, I mean, you look at this one here, right? Completely, I mean, it's destroyed, right? But this one here is fine. There was someone in one of these that was intact, but it appears the majority of the people were not in these. The one woman that I spoke to earlier said that she made the decision not to come back to her house. She worked at a gas station nearby. And again, understood that these manufactured homes are not the place you want to be in. And this picture tells the story as to why. So as of right now, no reported injuries. At least the one person I talked to, James, was not here, decided to go somewhere else, a brick and mortar structure, because these are just simply not safe to be in when we have weather like this.
Okay, Stephen, thank you so much. We'll check with you again here in just a few minutes. It's 9:40. Again, we're going to start our 10 o'clock news in 20 minutes, and we'll hear back from Stephen. And we're hoping that perhaps the residents of that mobile home park in Carbon Hill were in a shelter. We don't know that. There's just a lot we don't know right now. And again, the sheriff is asking for people to stay out of Carbon Hill. Nobody is allowed in while they're doing this search from door to door, checking on welfare out there right now. So again, this is the big picture. We have tornado warnings up here for parts of Marshall County in northeast Alabama. That's up in the Huntsville television market. In our part of the state, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for northern Shelby, Jefferson, St. Clair, Etowah, and Blount as this line comes through. The main concern, it's damaging straight line winds high enough to knock down trees and power lines. And down to the south, let's check in our South Marengo County storm. We know a lot of people watch us. We've got a potential tornado that passed just to the south of Sweetwater. And we now have a tornado warning in effect for northern Wilcox County. This includes the city of Camden. This includes Gee's Bend. As that storm right here comes out of Marengo into Wilcox. And of course, this is all down in the Montgomery, Alabama television market down to the south of us. But just wanted to give you a heads up on that since a lot of people watch us online in that part of the state. So a tornado warning in effect for northern Wilcox County. And this is down here where this air has not been touched much today. It's very ripe, very volatile. And again, we have a PDS tornado watch, a particularly dangerous situation. So these storms are going to be problematic for the next 3, 4, 5 hours. Again, we've got a ways to go tonight, so be aware of that. So that's Wilcox County. Let's go back up north and let's take a look at the storms up where we are. And let's check the... Okay. Let's go up here into Blount County, and again, you can see potential for strong winds. That's not really a tornado signature here. This is all of this kind of represents strong straight line winds. That is in Blount County, and that's the reason for a severe thunderstorm warning for Blount County. No tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning. The tornado warnings are up here to the north. That includes Marshall County up in northeast Alabama for the possibility of tornado activity there. But in Blount County, you could see some strong straight line winds. And again, we're watching from time to time. You might see a little couplet pop up in through here. There might be a small tornado that drops. That's not out of the question for that to happen up and through here. But again, we've got clearly the chance of strong, straight line, maybe damaging winds. In addition, we've got flooding problems. Let's pop on the reflectivity. It is really, really raining heavily. And again, you can see some of the heaviest rain is falling in parts of western Blount County, Blountsville, down to Cleveland, down to Locust Fork, down to Hayden and Nectar. That'll be coming into Aniana. Really heavy rain north and west of downtown Birmingham. So in addition to the chance of strong winds, we have the chance of flooding, and we have many counties under a flash flood warning because of all of this. These are not, the line itself not moving especially rapidly. The individual storms are racing along the line itself kind of creeping along tonight, and again, that could create some flooding issues. But again, if you are in northern Shelby, this is Chelsea north, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. All of St. Clair, all of Etowah, all of Blount, and most of Jefferson for the possibility of strong winds. I think we've got a live shot from Inslee. We got one of our dash cams. This is okay, in Birmingham. If we got that, we'll take that real quick. This is what it looks like of the line of storms coming into Birmingham. Looks like they're coming through the downtown interstate system now. And again, that is, okay, Meaghan Thomas coming back in. And it's wet and it's windy and it's a good night to be home in a good safe place. So let's go back to me with a radar behind me. And again, in 15 minutes, we're going to start the newscast unless we have a tornado warning to pop up. But if there's no tornado warning at 10 o'clock, we're going to have a newscast with an organized look at all of the damage we've had today. There's a lot to talk about, a whole lot to talk about. But again, severe storms coming through parts of Blount, Jefferson counties. That'll be coming into northern Shelby, St. Clair, Etowah counties with a chance of strong straight line winds.
Let's take another look at the at that Blount County storm. We're keeping a close eye on it. We're getting some reports of potentially some damage with this line that's moving through right now. If we can take a quick look.
Yeah, Blount County 911 reports a barn destroyed with this line. And again, this is straight line winds in through here. Remember, straight line winds can knock down trees and destroy structures like a tornado in some cases. Could there be an isolated tornado in this line? Yes, but there's no really strong evidence of that. You see a couple of circulations in through here, but the main concern is just for the wind, whether it's a small tornado or straight line winds. But again, reports of a barn destroyed in the 400 block or 4,000 block of Black Road in Blountsville. But again, we're watching also the Carbon Hill situation. We're going to go back to Stephen here at the top of the hour. And sooner if need be. We're watching his feed and we're watching the first responders going through the trailer park up there in Carbon Hill to check for anybody that's injured. We hope that everybody was sheltered. We don't know that yet, but again, there's just a lot we don't know at this point. But hopefully we'll get some additional information from Stephen on the damage in Carbon Hill coming up at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock, and we'll go back to him sooner if need be. In fact, I think I see Stephen standing by now. Yeah, let's go to Stephen real quick. Steve,
hey,
a lot
James,
of people are asking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you good. Give us an update, please.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can. In fact, this house right here, James, we do know of one person who was inside here. He was living with his mother. You asked that question earlier, and amazingly, he made it okay. He said he was knocked down, knocked out. We're actually going to grab him some water right now. The power is out and water lines are out, obviously. So this is the one person we've been able to find as we've been scouring this area that was inside. But the firefighters, again, that I talked to say everyone is accounted for. When I asked about injuries, some scrapes and bumps, obviously there's also, frankly, a shock that comes with this, right? When you deal with something like this and have come through it. As you see the house that's right next to it, as I point this out, James, as you can see, literally just blown over, like a toy, like a Lego set, just knocked over in this area. But so far in this specific area of this trailer park that we are at here on Nauvoo Lane, no significant injuries that we have seen. People continue to come through here, just checking up on everyone. As you can see, people making their way out here because this is the most significant damage that I have seen as we made our way through Carbon Hill. We came in on I-22, James, and saw just a line of ambulances that were making their way through this area, trying to get to everyone. As you see people here trying to go to the house that I mentioned to make sure that everyone has water, the things that they need just to make it through here. But so far, no injuries. I'm hesitant, obviously, as frankly, first responders were just getting here as we got here. They're continuing their way down to try to make sure that there are no one else that may have been hurt in this area. So everything that I say, frankly, is fluid, James, just because things change as they get to more houses and they're literally having to knock door to door to door as they continue. This house, you see the door there, they have to go to the back because you can't even get in through here. So certainly a harrowing situation. We're going to continue to try to go around and talk to some people to see if there's any more fluid changes. Power is out in this area as well, so it makes it difficult for people, frankly, to see. They're worried about trees and power lines also falling down as they continue to make their way through there. So we're going to make a few phone calls real quick, try to make sure that nothing has changed from people who are elsewhere. But the good news, again, right here where we are, James, despite all the damage that we've shown you, no significant injuries in this trailer park where we're at right now.
Great. Thank you for that report, Stephen. And I do have a report from a good source that maybe not at that park, but 2 injuries were transported, and that's all so far, from Carbon Hill. There's an incident command set up by local officials, and they're doing that door-to-door search. And again, nobody is allowed in Carbon Hill at this point because of what they're doing. So just the best thing to do is to stay away, and if you're sheltered somewhere else, and if you live there, just try and be patient and give them time to do what they need to do, the first responders. All right, in about 11 minutes, we're going to join the 10 o'clock news. We have no tornado warnings in our part of the state. We do have one up here in Marshall County, and that's up in the Huntsville television market. But we got a band of strong storms that's coming down with high wind through parts of Blount and Jefferson counties. These storms have had a history of producing some wind damage. And they could produce winds of 40, 50, 60 miles per hour as they come through Birmingham, as they come through places like Asheville, Pell City, Gadsden, Attala, down into northern Shelby County. Northern Shelby County is under a severe thunderstorm warning. So again, these are all severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. The tornado warnings are down to the south through parts of northern Wilcox County, Camden back up toward Gee's Bend, that part of rural southwest Alabama where there's a possible tornado. But that's down in the Montgomery television market where we are. We're just watching this big line of storms, and the good news is this line sweeps onto the east. The risk of severe weather will end. Now, we'll have another narrow line of storms in North Alabama after midnight tonight. Those should be weakening, and the odds of additional severe weather are low with that line. Not zero, but low. There are some active storms back over the Mississippi Delta region. But again, we're keeping a close eye on things here. As you can see, that big batch of storms coming on down through here. Okay, let's go to another live shot. This is going to be from the western part of Birmingham. This is Macador, and yeah, the winds are picking up, and the rain is really getting heavier there. This is the line that is coming through Birmingham right now. And again, this line will produce a lot of rain and some flooding. Keep in mind, we got flash flood warnings for a number of counties. We've got so many hazards working tonight. It's sometimes we forget to mention the flooding issue. We've had some rural roads that have been underwater tonight. And this could easily drop an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain, where a lot of rain has already come down earlier today. And again, this is out in the McCalla area of western Jefferson County, and that's the line of storms that is sweeping into Birmingham. The good news, if there's any good news I can tell you, we do not have any active tornado warnings in effect for our part of the state. Again, we're watching the Weather Service chat in Birmingham. They're watching these small circulations in Blount County, and you know, it's always hard to know when to pull the trigger on a tornado warning, but we probably are going to have more tornado warnings tonight. I don't think we're finished, but the bottom line is, as long as we've got this active weather, we'll stay with this through the night. But we are going to pause at 10 o'clock for a segment to show you the damage we've had today. We'll show you more about what's happening in Carbon Hill, where there's been damage and at least 2 injuries that were transported. And other parts of the state. We have trees down in multiple counties. If you watched our live stream, you saw Brian Peters with trees going down in front of him on US 82 near Gordo earlier today. But let's go back to the radar behind me. And again, what you've been watching, that's this line of storms coming into Birmingham. And this is this second batch right in through here. And you can see these severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for the Mississippi Delta. Those storms could be fairly strong as they pass through, but they will not produce a tornado, and they will probably be weakening as they pass through here later tonight. Still, we'll keep an eye on that, but that's the final batch of storms that will be scooting through the northern part of the state. But the concern, it's this stuff right down through here, and especially in this part of Alabama south of Interstate 20. Here's the current radar out of Birmingham, and again, you can see those storms are coming into the Birmingham Metro, and they have had a history of producing strong winds, enough winds to knock down trees and power lines. They've been producing flash flooding as well. These storms, in some cases, have dropped 1 to 2 inches of rain in a very short amount of time. There is one tornado warning polygon up here in Marshall County that includes Albertville. That's up in the Huntsville television market. We have another tornado warning in effect down in Wilcox County, northern Wilcox. That's in the Montgomery television market. And again, let's go down to these storms down here. These are, again, this is where the air is ripe. And we're going to have to really watch this. There could be some real problems down through here. We've got one polygon coming out of Clark County that includes parts of northern Monroe and parts of western Wilcox. We've got this polygon for the storm coming out of Marengo County. So multiple tornado warnings for Wilcox County down here in southwest Alabama. And this ultimately could affect places like Montgomery and Tuskegee and Auburn and Opelika. These storms later tonight. And even where we are, counties like Coosa and Tallapoosa and Clay and Randolph and Talladega, those counties south and east of Birmingham, just be aware that even though the weather has been quiet where you've been so far today, in a way that's not good because the air has not been, stabilized by rain. So we're going to watch this area down here. Let's put the reflectivity back on. This is the velocity display. Here comes the reflectivity, and again, you can see that batch of storms from Sand Mountain down to Aniana, the western suburbs of Birmingham, down to a point south and east of Tuscaloosa. The severe weather risk has ended. The good news, the severe weather risk is over for the northwestern part of the state, at least for now. In fact, let's put the watch warning map on here, and we'll show you the counties involved in this watch. The watch has been cleared for Pickens, Lamar, Fayette, Walker, Winston, and Marion. We have flash flood warnings in effect for parts of Sumter, Greene, Pickens, Tuscaloosa, Fayette, Walker, Jefferson, Blount, Coleman counties, a small part of Marshall and DeKalb counties. And again, these are flash flood warnings in effect. And these are severe thunderstorm warnings, northern Shelby, St. Clair, Etowah, Blount, and Jefferson. So a whole lot of warnings on the board. And that tornado warning polygon up here, that's Marshall County, that's up in the Tennessee Valley. But again, the encouragement here is the fact that the risk of severe weather, at least for now, has ended for these counties in northwest Alabama. That is a severe thunderstorm watch to the west over Mississippi. That last line of storms will come through here late tonight. And you can see all these severe thunderstorm warnings. They're probably going to weaken, but we'll watch those. They might maintain their intensity as they creep into the state later tonight. But again, in terms of the tornado threat, the greatest risk is going to be right down in through here, areas south and east of Birmingham. That's where we certainly could see tornado activity for the next few hours. So understand, we've still got a ways to go. It's been a long day and a long night tonight, but we're not quite done yet. So again, in 4 minutes, we're going to join ABC 3340 News at 10 o'clock. We note the Weather Service in Huntsville posting a new tornado warning for DeKalb and Jackson counties up here in northeast Alabama. This is their new warning right here for the activity that's coming out of Marshall. But that's up, again, that's up in the Huntsville market. You'll see a new tornado warning polygon popping up in here. That warning is in effect for those two counties, parts of DeKalb and Jackson, until 10:15 in the northeastern part of the state. So let's pop the radar back on here. And let's see, what's remote 11? If we could take that shot, fellas, looks like it's poor. This might be John Brown, not quite sure. We got John Brown out in the field, the legendary storm chaser, John Brown. And again, you can see that it's just absolutely pouring. This is the line of storms coming into the Birmingham Metro with strong winds and potential for flooding. Keep in mind, Jefferson County is under a flash flood warning. And again, that's what it looks like throughout the Birmingham Metro. Let's go to remote 10 if we can. This is going to be another shot from the Birmingham Metro showing just torrents of rain coming down, thunder, lightning. Again, it's a great night to be home and to be sheltered, to be in a safe, warm, dry place. And if you are in a warm, dry place, then you are blessed indeed. So back to the radar behind me. Again, we're going to hit the newscast in about 3 minutes for a full update on everything that's happened today. A lot has happened, but we've got this line of severe storms from Sand Mountain down through Blount County at Aniana, downtown Birmingham, south and east of Tuscaloosa. In advance of that, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for northern Shelby, all of St. Clair, all of Etowah, most of Blount, and most of Jefferson counties. And then down to the south, we've got tornado warnings in effect for parts of Wilcox County. This is southwest Alabama. As you can see, storms down here are lighting things up, and that will be moving toward Montgomery and Auburn, Opelika, Tuskegee, Union Springs, Greenville, Luverne, Troy. Down there in that part of the state, again, they are very unstable. That is very unstable air. And again, down and through here, just be aware, Clay, Coosa, Talladega, Tallapoosa, Randolph, Chambers, Cleburne, Calhoun, these counties in through here still have a risk of tornado activity. So we are not done with severe weather for the night by any means, as we think by 2 a.m. we can say that, but it's only 10 p.m., so we got about 4 more hours to go. And we'll watch all of these storms carefully. But I think Alabama's responded very well to this threat. People were ready. Of course, on this Easter Sunday, people were home. We are in a very odd place in society these days, and I think that's helped us keep people safe. Folks were home anyway, and of course, in a good home, you're typically in a good place where you'll find a small room or a closet where you can go and slap your helmet on and you'll be fine. So we've had no loss of life in the state tonight. We have had injuries, yes. We've had a lot of trees down and structural damage. But we've not had any loss of life, and that's always the goal that we have going into these days, is to prevent that. So that's good so far, but the night is not done. We want to stay alert, stay weather aware, and be ready to take action if need be. So I do believe we got about 50 seconds, and Stephen, you guys in the back, let me know if we need to hit at a certain time, and I will stop at that certain time, and we will start the newscast. And if not, I'll just start when I want to. How about that? We'll watch these storms as they keep on sweeping through the state. So far, severe thunderstorm warnings, northern Shelby, St. Clair, Etowah, Blount, Jefferson. No tornado warnings for our part of the state. That gives us the freedom to switch over to a newscast here. We do have tornado warnings down in southwest Alabama, parts of Monroe, Wilcox, and Marengo counties. And remember, I do fully expect a number more tornado warnings. We are not done with this. If you are south and east of this line over here. Now, again, if you're in northwest Alabama, the risk of tornadoes is ended. You might see another band of storms later tonight, but odds of a tornado are low. So, at this point, we're going to take a break from the weather coverage, and we're going to check on what's happening with the damage we've had today with ABC 3340 News at 10 o'clock that starts now.
ABC 3340 News starts now with a Weather Authority storm alert.
And happening right now at 10 o'clock on ABC 3340, storms rolling through our area tonight. Damage stretching from west to East Alabama, from Pickens County to Walker to Jefferson and on to Etowah County. The Weather Authority has been bringing you the latest developments as they unfold throughout the day. Of course, led by Chief Meteorologist James Spann. James, if you wouldn't mind, I know you've been on the air throughout the entire day and afternoon and then to the evening. Go ahead and reset and explain what's happening now.
Well, the good news, we have no tornado warnings in effect for our part of the state. We do have flash flood warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings. Flash flood warnings for parts of Pickens, Greene, Sumter, Tuscaloosa, Jefferson, Coleman, Coleman, Blount counties. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of Shelby, St. Clair, Etowah, Blount, and Jefferson counties, and a tornado watch until midnight for the counties here in the shades of yellow. And more storms are over North Mississippi. Those could creep in here later tonight. We don't expect any tornado activity there. Let's check the radar. We've got a band of heavier storms now from Sand Mountain up around Boaz and Albertville down to downtown Birmingham and then back into southwest Alabama. Strong winds and flooding, the main concerns for the moment for our part of the state. We do note tornado warnings in effect down to the south, but again, you can see heavier storms now from near Boaz and Albertville down to about Straight Mountain, downtown Birmingham, right down Interstate 59 toward Brookwood, and those will move on to the east with a chance of strong winds and some flooding. And down in southwest Alabama, we have tornado warnings in effect for counties like Wilcox, Monroe. Those storms are moving east as well. More on this active weather coming up in minutes, so stay with us.
James will be checking in with you throughout this newscast. Thank you very much. And as of right now, we are seeing incredible storm damage coming out of Walker County. To be specific, we are in Carbon Hill right now. Our Stephen Quinn is there, and there has been some extraordinary damage there, Stephen.
Chris, trailer parks that have been destroyed. Difficult to even realize that there was one there in a few cases. And one message that before I say anything else, we did get a chance to talk to the Walker County Sheriff's Office, and they're stressing to everyone who's watching this right now that Carbon Hill has been closed off to the public right now as they try to get their arms around and assess the damage here. In other words, if you try to drive in, you are going to be turned around. It is just first responders that are being allowed in right now, in part because of where we are here at this trailer park on Nauvoo Lane, where there has been significant destruction. No reports of any significant injuries right now, but Caitlin Elrod is with me, and you were inside this trailer right here when everything happens. First off, tell me what happened.
Like it all happened so fast. Like I look out the window and it's raining and things go black and the power goes off and I run and jump in the bathtub and I'm freaking out because I'm here by myself and I just start crying and praying, and then like it kind of stops. Like it was like it started and then it stopped and I just didn't move. I was really scared. I'm still really shaken about it. I'm sorry.
I can tell you are. You're doing great, by the way. I'm sorry. Okay. Caitlin, how long did it last and what did you think when you looked outside and you saw what happened?
I don't really know how long it lasted. It kind of was just like really fast, and then when I look out, the first thing I thought of was my best friend Jasmine. She lived right over there. Our trailer's not there anymore.
And I know you were just on the phone with her, right? You were just
she's
talking.
Okay.
She's
Her and her little girl are okay.
All right. Caitlin, thank you so much.
Thanks.
I know you're doing okay. As you can see, Chris, there's a lot of people who are still very shaken. And Caitlin, thank you for talking to us. I know it's not easy given what's going on right now. A lot of people shaken. There are still people going door to door. To give you a sense, if you're not familiar with where we are, we're on Nauvoo Lane. The high school is just down the road from where we are. I'm told the damage is not as bad there. We haven't had a chance to get to that area yet. And the key word, again, that we keep reiterating, no word yet on significant injuries. That's what I'm being told from first responders. But again, they're asking people to stay out of this area so that they can continue to go, as we saw earlier, door to door, knocking on those doors to make sure everyone is okay. Thankfully, everyone here, including Caitlin, has been okay so far. We're going to keep updating you and let you know any new numbers or any new information we get from officials here in Carbon Hill. Chris?
Tough images, and of course, glad that everybody appears to be okay. Stephen Quinn will be joining you here in just a few minutes, and that just starts off our live team coverage. And we go now back to Walker County for more.
I'm Meaghan Thomas on the Walker-Jefferson County line, which is just northwest of the city of Birmingham, where a suspected tornado came across this area Easter evening. I spoke to a man earlier tonight, just moments after he stepped out of his car, where he left his mobile home thinking back underneath this awning of this what used to be gas station was the safer spot to be.
So we kind of took shelter under the closest thing that we could see, and, strong winds. Blew the glass out. I don't know if the awning hit us and blew the glass out or it was an actual tornado, but you can see the car right there only caved in where someone wasn't sitting.
Wow.
So front passenger, driver, and then the back driver was the people in the car, and if someone wasn't sitting right there, then...
So the one spot where one person was sitting is the place that caved in, and you all were in the areas that it was not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thankfully, even though storms are still rolling through, all three people and the dog that were inside this vehicle are completely safe. In Bagley, meteorologist Meaghan Thomas.
And more new video tonight from the Bagley and Dora area where severe weather hit hard this evening. This video is near Bankhead Highway off the Warrior Jasper Road, right there near Emmy Parsons Road. A house was destroyed. A family was inside. Luckily, they made it out safe.
She said it's right on top of you. Get in your safe place, which we were already. We put our helmets on and closed the door behind us in the storm shelter. And as soon as we did, we heard the wind and just started hearing debris hit the house and just started praying. That's all we could do. Scared to death and just praying to keep us safe.
There are thousands of reported power outages tonight near the Bagley community. More on those outages in just a moment. I want you to take a look at these incredible images coming out of Walker County as well. This coming from the Oakman area, just off Highway 69 South. You can see there trees uprooted. Many power lines as well on the ground there. A serious situation. Now to Aniana. Did you see this video where several power lines are down? This is near the Huddle House, if you're familiar in Aniana, where those power lines were sparking after the storm ripped them right from the power poles. And the storm system also leaving damage behind in Etowah County. This is State Highway 205 in Boaz. Trees were downed, power lines damaged. You see emergency crews there clearing the road. Etowah County crews are also responding to damage reports in Boaz and Reese City as well. The last updates we have seen from Alabama Power were from 8 p.m., some 2 hours ago. And it states that there are more than 45,000 customers without power. Those are primarily customers who live in counties near the Interstate 20 corridor, if you will. Mississippi Emergency Management Agency has confirmed at least 6 people have died in the state from today's severe weather. 1 fatality was confirmed in Walthall County, 2 were confirmed in Lawrence County, and 3 were confirmed dead in Jefferson Davis County. More than 30,000 people are without power tonight across the state of Mississippi. Walthall County, which I just mentioned there, the sheriff there says many trees are down, homes damaged. Lawrence County Emergency Management Agency says many chicken houses were destroyed as well. And we'll be right back. Happening right now, we continue our live severe weather coverage for you. These are 4 different images coming in from one of our many Algo cameras. You can see we have you covered from across the area. Still, the lightning is flickering across the night sky. You can see that in the upper left-hand portion of your screen. As for roadways, we have not heard of any significant roadway blockages at this point. This is a live look from the McAdory area coming from Chief Photographer Bill Castle. You can see the rain still continuing to fall there. As we keep this image up very quickly, I do want to let you know that Blount County sent us a message stating that per District 4 Commissioner, the roads there in District 4 are deemed impassable and to stay off the roads in District 4 of Blount County. If memory serves, that is the northern portion of the county, but I wanted to pass that along as it relates to District 4 because many trees may be down in this the dark of the night, and that could certainly be a hazard if you're on the roads. I want to get back now to Stephen Quinn. He is in Carbon Hill right now. Some of the damage there quite extensive and unbelievably and thankfully no serious injuries. Stephen, I was watching the feeds, to be honest with you. I saw you speaking with some police officers. What new information have you gathered?
Yep. Yeah, Chris, I did get a chance to speak with Carbon Hill Police just a moment ago. They did tell us some new information. They tell us that there was 1 person who had a head injury and another with an arm injury that did need some medical attention within the city of Carbon Hill. Now, the extent of those injuries, we just simply don't know right now. They do have a lot of ambulances, as I said. We were following them in that are in this area now, scouring through here just like the first responders are. In fact, if we can pan over here, you can see the lights as they're going through here, just making sure that everybody has what they need. The big message, as you heard in Blount County, Chris, and I asked the chief, and he said the one message we're trying to stress to everybody is that if you are not in Carbon Hill, stay out of the city right now. They have police, first responders, state troopers, state police, and state emergency first responders are all flooding into this area right now. And because of that reason, They simply don't need the public out here joyriding, trying to see what's going on. They say that's an issue, and that's a message they want us to pass along to everyone to stay off these roads while they continue their work to get done here. Power is certainly out throughout most of Carbon Hill from when we came in here, and it has not been restored. There are a lot of trees down. Power outages, I suspect, are going to be out here for quite a while. So that is something that they're going to have to be challenging for them as they deal with the cleanup and also the recovery efforts overnight here. Chris?
Stephen, as you were talking, I wanted to remind everybody, and I have a question for you, that the Walker County Sheriff's Office actually made a post on its Facebook page saying that nobody except first responders are allowed in. Stephen, I also have received some messages from residents there in the Carbon Hill area saying that they're hearing of damage at the high school. Have you heard anything regarding damage at the high school?
That would make some sense, Chris. I heard it was not as bad. Now, I don't know the extent. I will tell you it's just a little bit north. This is Nauvoo Lane right here. I'm told it's just a little bit up the ways from where we are, so it's not far from where the damage that we are is. But honestly, Chris, I haven't had a chance to get up there yet to see with my own eyes, so I don't know the extent of the damage right now. I do know, though, that obviously that's got to be an area that first responders are aware of. And in fact, you see Carbon Hill police that are right here. The reason they're not letting anyone up this road, which is the road that leads up to that area that you mentioned. So obviously it's an area that they're working on and trying to assess what's going on up there.
All right, Stephen Quinn, we'll be joining you just here in a few more minutes. Go ahead and gather some more information. We'll come back to you. And another live look outside as we have our eye on the sky and our eye on the roads as well. As you look live at this, I want to remind you, if you have images from the storms as they are rolled through, feel free to share them with us. You can send those images and the videos to share at abc3340.com. Please, we have been getting some in. It helps us tell the story from your vantage point. Please know that we do certainly appreciate it. We'll be right back as our coverage continues, led by Chief Meteorologist James Spann. Continuing our live coverage right now, this is a live look coming in from Aniana. As a reminder, Blount County officials sending out a message per District 4 Commissioner. All roads are deemed impassable at this hour. Stay off the roads at this very moment. That is because there are so many trees down, and of course, you don't want to have a situation where you can't stop in time by the time you're on it. And again, another live look as we take that. I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist James Spann for another update on this developing situation. James, what are you seeing?
Well, it's pouring rain for many folks, and we have multiple issues here. First off, we have the chance of flash flooding and the chance of strong winds. The heaviest rain is falling from parts of DeKalb County around Rainsville down to about Attalla to the southern suburbs of Birmingham. We are in River Chase here at ABC 3340. It's just pouring overhead, and then down into eastern Tuscaloosa County. Let's take off the radar data. Let's put on the polygons here. We can take a look at the watches and the warnings we currently have in effect. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for northern Shelby, Jefferson, St. Clair, Etowah, and a small part of Blount. Flash flood warnings in effect for Blount, parts of Coleman, Jefferson, Walker, Tuscaloosa, Fayette, Pickens, parts of Greene and Sumter counties, and then a tornado watch in effect until midnight tonight for the counties in yellow. The watch has been cleared for counties like Pickens, Fayette, Walker, Cullman, Winston, Marion, Fayette, and Lamar. Let's put the radar back on here. And again, for now, we have no tornado warnings in our part of the state. That's the good news. We note one small tornado warning polygon south of Chattanooga, Tennessee. But the air to the south and east of Birmingham is still very unstable, and we still could have additional tornado warnings overnight tonight. Down in southwest Alabama, that is a tornado warning for Wilcox County. We also note there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Dallas County, and those storms are moving to the east. And again, this part of Alabama will have to watch for the possibility of tornadoes over the next 4 hours. Cities like Alexander City, Montgomery, Auburn, Opelika, Lafayette, Roanoke, Luverne, Troy, Greenville, places like that. The event not over yet for areas, again, south and east of this line of storms. And the other issue here, these storms producing tremendous amounts of rain. Some spots have seen over 3 inches of rain so far today. We could see another additional inch or two before the rain tapers off later tonight. And let's look at those storms back to the north and west of here. These are storms that are passing through parts of Mississippi and western Tennessee. We're going to keep an eye on these. These have prompted a few severe thunderstorm warnings here. You can see that bow-shaped echo. These will be moving into northwest Alabama later tonight. We believe they should be weakening later tonight. and the chance of additional severe weather is low. Not zero, but fairly low. But the main threat here, strong straight line winds, no tornado threat. So the bottom line is, for the rest of tonight, the main chance of tornado activity from areas south and east of Birmingham. Tomorrow will be a different kind of day with dry air coming back, and then we'll see a relatively quiet week ahead with cool nights and comfortable days, the chance of rain small each day through Friday. More on this very active weather coming up in minutes as ABC 3340 News at 10 o'clock continues.
Happening right now, this is a live look in West Alabama. This is Tuscaloosa from our Skycam. Noteworthy here, obviously you see the wet streets, but something else that's even more important at this very moment, the lights are on. And that is extremely important because so many of our friends and neighbors are without power right now. These are the latest numbers coming in from Alabama Power. A breakdown with the most current outages, 10,700 for Jefferson County, 10,200 customers, Blount County, 6,700 customers, Etowah County. And I'm going to stop right now. And James, you're waving. You need to go on air.
Yeah, we've got a tornado warning in effect now for Cherokee County up in northeast Alabama. Let's take a look at the radar, and you can see that we have strong indication of a tornado that's located here in DeKalb County, and that's going to be crossing over into northern Cherokee. This is going to be very similar to the tornado warning we had earlier tonight for the northern tip of Cherokee County. The warning is coming in a few minutes from the National Weather Service. They've actually not issued it formally yet, but they've indicated on the chat that it's coming. So again, they're working a tornado warning in effect for Cherokee County. And there it is, just popped up on the screen here. So you can see this will include areas from Galesville north. And again, you've been through this once before tonight, the same area that had a tornado warning earlier tonight. This is basically going to be, the Polygon does not include Cedar Bluff, it does not include Center, it does not include Leesburg, and it really doesn't include most of Weiss Lake. But you can see the tornado indication on radar here, and that's going to be crossing out of DeKalb County, coming through northern Cherokee. This will be generally north of Galesville. This will probably pass just north of Sandrock. Sandrock is located right there. This is very close to Sandrock. Some of you with a Sandrock mailing address might be in the path of that. But we'll take a look at some of the communities in the path of this particular thunderstorm. These are the approximate arrival times tonight. So again, this is a tornado warning for Cherokee County, the northern part of Cherokee County, that is in effect until 11 o'clock. Now, they'll probably be able to cancel the warning before that as the storm moves over into Georgia. And again, these storms are racing along. This storm is moving towards the east at 65 miles per hour. And there's no traffic lights where these things are. They're just trucking along. So again, northern Cherokee County, we got a tornado warning in effect. So again, just to give you an idea of where we are here, this is Cedar Bluff here. This is Galesville, this is Broomtown, and this is Sand Rock. That's your possible tornado right in through here. And again, this is Dogtown. It's up on the mountain now. It's going to cross over into northern Cherokee. It's going to be coming out across the Little River Canyon here. So tornado warning in effect for southern DeKalb County. That's up in the Huntsville market, which is this warning. And then this polygon here, this is for Cherokee County in northeast Alabama, which is in the Birmingham television market. So that is what's going on up this way. Let's go down south real quick. Wanted to show you what's happening down to the south of us. And again, we're watching storms that are quite dangerous in southwest Alabama. And these storms down in parts of Wilcox County are, we're going to go way down to the south, way down. Here we go. All right, right in through here. You can see Wilcox County is under a tornado warning. And at this point, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Dallas County as well. Let's pop the reflectivity back on here real quick. And this is the southern extent of the line. And I just wanted to point out that right in through here, this is where the air has really not been touched today. And there's certainly a chance we could see a very significant tornado in this region for the next few hours. So again, Talladega, Sylacauga, Ashland, Lineville, Alexander City, Lake Martin South, down to Eufaula and Phoenix City and Auburn and Opelika, Montgomery. In that part of the state, just be aware, the door is open for for all modes of severe weather, including tornadoes, over the next few hours as this line moves in here. And again, that's a tornado warning for Wilcox County in southwest Alabama. So let's move our way back up to the north. And again, we still have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for northern Shelby, St. Clair, and Etowah counties. The line segment right here, that's producing strong winds. It is producing torrents of rain. There could easily be some flash flooding problems. In fact, we've had a lot of reports of flash flooding across the region tonight, and that will gradually move on to the east. But again, severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of all of Etowah, all of St. Clair, parts of Blount, Jefferson, and St. Clair, now Shelby counties. This is the reason we are on the air right now. This is a tornado warning in effect for northern Cherokee County. Center is here, Leesburg is here, Cedar Bluff is here. This is from Galesville north. This includes Broomtown. This same part of the county had a tornado warning earlier tonight. So this is the second time you've had to go to your tornado safe place. But again, the tornado is very close to the Cherokee-DeKalb County line. And let's just go through a few reports while we're watching this. And again, you know the deal. If you're in northern Cherokee, north of Galesville, small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows, no mobile homes and no cars. It seems as though a tornado came through Boaz in Marshall County earlier tonight. And we're getting a lot of reports of damage from that particular tornado and one report of an injury, at least one person injured there. Beyond that, I don't have any specifics. And of course, Boaz is just up the road from Gadsden, up on Sand Mountain, up Highway 431. But it's been a rough ride for Marshall County tonight. And again, we've had reports of tornado damage there with one injury. We obviously had a small tornado that came through Carbon Hill tonight, and that produced damage near Carbon Hill High School. And we've got Stephen Quinn, who was on the scene. We've had reports from him throughout the night. They did a great job of getting up there very early, and at least 2 people were injured there that were transported. Beyond that, we're still gathering information on that. But again, that was in Carbon Hill. And prior to that, we've had a tornado through parts of northern Jefferson and southern Walker counties near the county line, from Pumpkin Center back over toward Bagley and Sayre earlier tonight, that caused 1 or 2 injuries there. The good news I can tell you tonight, in our state, we have had no reports of any fatalities. Injuries, yes. Damage, yes, but no fatalities, and that's always the goal in these things. As bad as it is, but you just don't want to see any lives lost, and we have made it through this event so far. It's not over yet, but so far we have not. So again, tornado warning in effect for northern Cherokee County. This is the Georgia line here. This is Alabama. This is Georgia, Galesville, Broomtown, Sand Rock. The tornado is here, so this is passing north of Sand Rock, and that's going to scoot across that far northern part of Cherokee County, really north of Weiss Lake. More sad news to tell you. I do know that we have had at least 6 fatalities in Mississippi today. One of those was a law enforcement officer and his wife in Lawrence County, Mississippi. Very sad news coming of our adjacent state. This was a violent tornado that stayed a little bit south of Jackson, down through parts of Lawrence and Walthall counties in Mississippi. So the Weather Service in Birmingham is looks like they're talking with the Storm Prediction Center about what they're going to do with this tornado watch and these various watches across the Deep South. The current watch is scheduled to expire at midnight tonight. The risk will extend past midnight. They'll have to issue some type of new watch, tornado watch, and we'll just see how they configure that. That'll be done here in the next 15 minutes or so. But again, the reason we're here, this is a tornado warning in effect for the northern part of Cherokee County. And again, this is going to be passing north of Weiss Lake, north of Center, north of Leesburg, north of Cedar Bluff. Galesville is in the Polygon right here. But again, Broomtown, Galesville, northern Cherokee. So that's the current situation. Let's go back down the line and let me show you the line of storms with the Reflectivity product that's coming through the southern and eastern part of the Birmingham Metro. It's pouring rain, just pouring down through here from Asheville and St. Clair County, Shoal Creek Valley, Raglan, right down through Wolf Creek, west of Pell City, down into northern Shelby County. thunder, lightning, strong winds. You've got a severe thunderstorm warning, and it looks like those have expired. Taylor, correct me if I'm wrong here.
It does look like they were set to expire at 10:30, so it looks like they did allow them to expire.
Right, so the Weather Service opted not to extend those severe thunderstorm warnings. So we do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for this line. The winds have not been excessively high in the last hour. And based on the lack of reports of strong winds, the Weather Service has allowed those warnings to expire at 10:30. So there are no severe thunderstorm warnings in effect here, but they're producing gusty winds, torrents, I mean buckets and buckets of rain, and the flash flooding potential is quite high. We've had some reports of roads underwater, and again, it's just a good night to be inside and not out here driving. And you can also see downtown Birmingham, much of the Birmingham Metro, just soaking rains falling. And but the good news, back behind this line, the tornado watch has been cleared, and for now, the severe weather risk is ended. Now we're watching that last batch of storms over North Mississippi, and we'll see how that plays out. But you can see the tornado watch has been canceled for Coleman, Walker, Winston, Marion, Fayette, Lamar, and Pickens counties. Now these are flash flood warnings, and there's a bunch of them. Flash flood warnings in effect all the way from Pickens, Greene, Sumter, Tuscaloosa, Walker, Fayette, up through Jefferson, Blount, Etowah County, up into northeast Alabama. So flash flood warnings continue. We've had a lot of reports of roads that are water covered tonight, and it's not a good night to be driving. And keep in mind, many trees were blown down earlier today, and if you're driving at night, you got the dual problem with flash flooding and down trees. So that's not necessarily a good thing. You see these 24-hour rain amounts, and again, we've got some folks that have gone over 3 inches. There's 5.1, 4.4. So obviously some spots have picked up 5 inches of rain today. That's a whopper of a rain event for a one-day event. Taylor's putting some of the totals down in through here. So some big-time rain events north of Interstate 59. That's where the heaviest rain has been. Now here's the current radar. And again, you can see the heavier storms, the Birmingham Metro through parts of St. Clair and Etowah counties, and also rain falling to the south and east as well. We hope that the rain you see down here in places like Talladega, Sylacauga, Rockford, Alexander City, Clanton will help to kind of stabilize the air there. It's a possibility, but again, strong dynamics are at play here, and we cannot let our guard down. More tornado warnings are possible. In fact, here's a tornado warning in this big old rain mass up here in northern Cherokee County. That's the reason we're here, and this warning is set to expire at 11 o'clock. And I should mention the Weather Service has canceled the flash flood warning for Greene, Pickens, and Sumter. The big rains are over there. They continue the flash flood warning for Fayette, Jefferson, Tuscaloosa, and Walker County until 11:30 tonight. Coleman County's under a flash flood warning. So heavy rain is one problem, but again, we're watching northern Cherokee. Weiss Lake is down here. This is where Chris loves to fish for crappie. I mean, you're all over that. It's I love Weiss Lake. It's beautiful.
Yes.
But the core of this danger is going to be passing north of Weiss Lake. And again, this is not your classic tornado signature. It looked really good about 10 minutes ago, but now it's more of a straight line wind signature in through here. But remember, we have had storms like this that have dropped these tornadoes really quickly tonight, producing a lot of damage. Boaz, Carbon Hill, Bagley, Sayre, all of these kind of places have had a lot of damage tonight. And many places have had straight line wind damage where trees and power lines have come down, not related to tornadoes. So we've had a lot of problems tonight. And with all of these storms, with these warnings, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning, a tornado warning, you've got the chance of trees coming down, power lines coming down, power outages, and just very messy conditions. We've got that in so many counties across the state. So again, northern Cherokee, for a while longer, a tornado warning. It looks now like more of a straight line wind event. And wouldn't be shocked if at some point they allowed that warning to lapse. But again, for now, they're going to keep that going. Down to the south, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Lowndes and Montgomery counties until 11:30. Strong storms coming into the state capital, down into places like Hayneville, down to the south. Weather Service in Birmingham covers that area. That's, of course, down in the Montgomery television market. But there's a look at the new warnings have not popped up on the system here. They'll be in there in a second. But this line of storms could produce strong winds in Lowndes and Montgomery counties, and that's the reason for the warnings down there. The good news is the fact that I'm not seeing any tornado warnings down there. Those warnings for Wilcox County have transformed into severe thunderstorm warnings. And understand, straight line winds, that's still a big deal, but we don't see any tornado warnings. There's the new warning just in. So severe thunderstorm warnings are blanketing counties like Montgomery, Lowndes, Butler, Wilcox, Monroe, Clark, down in southwest Alabama. No warnings in effect for most of our area, which is great, although we have flash flood warnings, but I'm talking severe thunderstorm warnings. But that's that one spot, and that's the reason we're here holding up the newscast. It is this warning for Cherokee, northern Cherokee, and as long as it's there, we'll stay with it and go back to the newscast as soon as we get this storm into Georgia or the Weather Service in Birmingham cancels that warning. The storm is moving east at 55 to 60 miles an hour. And again, this is DeKalb County, this is Cherokee County, and that circulation point is straddling the county line. Fort Payne is right here. You've got Galesville right here. That's Alabama Highway 35 that goes back over to Fort Payne. So that will keep on moving to the east, and in about 10 to 15 minutes, that will be crossing over into Georgia. So this is between Galesville and Fort Payne, crossing Highway 35, the circulation on the county line that separates DeKalb County from Cherokee County, and that's going to keep on trucking over into Georgia. And once this is over, I don't think this is the last one. I really don't. I think we're going to have more tornado warnings between now and 2 a.m., and especially for areas south and east of Birmingham. So as people are getting set to go to sleep, just remember to please have your weather radio turned on, properly programmed with a good battery backup in case the power goes out, and have your phone with WEA, wireless emergency alerts, enabled. That way you'll get tornado warnings and flash flood warnings. And just be sure you don't miss the warnings. The greatest concern we always have, it's the late night storms where people have to go to bed, and many people go to work. I know right now a lot of people are not working. For some people, you might stay up all night like we do. But a lot of folks do go to bed, and just be sure you can hear those warnings so that if you get one, you can wake up and turn us back on, and we'll be right here. We're not going anywhere. So again, tornado warning, northern Cherokee, not including Weiss Lake, not including Center, Leesburg, Cedar Bluff, or Galesville. Let's put the reflectivity back on. We're going to go back down the line and take a look at some of the communities in the path of this line of storms. And the good news, the severe thunderstorm warnings have been allowed to expire. The heavy rain is falling in Gadsden right now, just pouring, and there's so much lightning, we've taken it off the system. Just for the fun of it, can we put a counter up here on the lightning strikes we've had? There's a lot out there, and let's see if we can get total strikes in this region, 93. In fact, we'll leave it up. That's not too, we can actually see the radar data here. So 93 strikes in this zone in the last, 15 minutes, I think. Anyway, there's a lot of lightning out there. But it's coming down through Gadsden, curving down the Coosa between Ohatchee and Raglan around Lake Neely Henry. And let's keep going to the southwest down that line, Taylor. We're just going to keep on going. In Shelby County, it's just pouring. St. Clair County, pouring at Pell City. In Shelby County, places like Dunavant, back over to Greystone and Inverness. It's still raining in the southeast part of the Birmingham Metro, back down into southwestern Jefferson County. But the wind output is really decreased with the storm. So the severe thunderstorm warnings have been allowed to expire. But remember, we have flash flood warnings in effect for Fayette, Jefferson, Tuscaloosa, Walker, Blount, Coleman counties. So we still have flooding issues, and we have some roads that have been water covered, and some roads out in the country, you've got water totally running across them, and you don't want to be out on a night like tonight with flash flooding in progress. And again, you can see more heavy rain falling from near the Shelby County Airport down into the western part of Chilton County, down toward Maplesville, Stanton, Ryderville, and a few stray showers back into parts of Bibb County. But again, once we get this big batch out of here, that last line of storms hopefully will weaken as they approach North Alabama later tonight. So let's go back up into northern Cherokee. It's 10:43 on Easter Sunday night. Hopefully you've had a good day today. I'm James Spann with Taylor Sarallo. We'll get the newscast back on as soon as we can. We are here for this small segment of Cherokee County being under a tornado warning. That thing's ramped up. It looks a whole lot better right now. Again, these have been cyclic. You know, we'll show you a volume scan. It doesn't look that bad. Next volume scan, boom. You've got a well-defined tornado signature here. And this will be most likely passing north of Broomtown. And notice how the polygon has been trimmed again. So Galesville is completely out of the polygon now. You're good. Galesville was kind of the southern extent. Now the Weather Service has trimmed this to just a small part of northern Cherokee County. And again, that possible tornado is going to be coming on across the northern part of the county, then ultimately scooting over into Georgia. And again, this is going to be passing north of Broomtown. But if you are in Sand Rock, if you are in Center, Leesburg, Galesville, Cedar Bluff, Weiss Lake, no impact from this at all. The weather's not good where you are, but in terms of the tornado threat, this will not affect you. Again, Taylor's going to track this over into Georgia. We'll put some of the arrival times up here, and again, you can see, pick out your town, see how you're doing on the arrival time, but this stuff should be over in Georgia by 10:55 or 11 o'clock tonight. Got a new tornado watch. We're trying to see, take that back. This is not, well, it is a new tornado watch until 5 a.m. Or I take that back, 6 a.m. 11Z. So we have a new tornado watch until 6 o'clock this morning. And is this on the system already? I don't think it is. There it is. It just popped in there. So here's your new tornado watch until 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, Monday morning. And this includes areas over to Atlanta, down to Macon, down to Columbus and Phoenix City, Montgomery, Eufaula, Dothan. So this is basically East and South Alabama. This is your new tornado watch right in through here, in effect until 6 a.m. Central Time. And of course, the storm should be over well before 6 o'clock. That's mainly for this eastern extent of this thing. So new tornado watch in effect for East and Southeast Alabama and much of central and western Georgia until 6 a.m. This does include Montgomery, Alexander City, Eufaula, Phoenix City, Dothan, Greenville, Troy, Atlanta, and Macon over in Georgia. And notice down in South Alabama, we have severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings so far. This has been a really unusual event. It's one of these where you need to go do a case study on this. We knew coming in this was going to be a messy event with multiple rounds of storms, and one round will impact the next round, and that will impact the next round in terms of the quality of the air mass, the instability, these boundaries. It's been a very unusual event, but it's been pretty rough tonight. We've had injury, we've had a lot of property damage, but thankfully, again, for our state so far, we've had no loss of life. We did have 6 fatalities back in Mississippi. And this little last batch, now, if this holds together, it's not going to produce a tornado, but it could produce some strong winds. And you can see
it looks like it's starting to weaken quite a bit.
Yeah, it's the lightning output has come down, and this air has been worked over. And that's going to come into this air mass, and it should continue to weaken. We noticed this on the high-resolution computer model output about this coming in here late tonight. So we'll keep an eye on that. I don't think they'll be issuing an additional severe thunderstorm watch, but they still could be fairly strong coming through mainly the Tennessee Valley of North Alabama. Most of that's going to stay north of where we are. But again, we expect no tornado threat here. The winds are unidirectional here. The proper conditions for a tornado are down in this region, down and through here. That's the reason for this new tornado watch. So let's take that radar data. I'll put the tornado watch back on here and just kind of show you who's in and who's out. The watch includes Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, and points south. Tuscaloosa is out. Bibb County, Perry, Green, Hale, Pickens, Sumter, Marengo, Choctaw, you're out of the tornado watch. All the counties north and west of Birmingham are out. And again, this is a severe thunderstorm watch related to that second line, but we think that line will weaken coming into North Alabama, and I don't think an additional watch will be required for that. And we should mention all the counties in darker green, that's a flash flood watch. And then these maroon polygons, these are flash flood warnings in effect for a number of counties in central and northeast Alabama. Some spots have gone over 5 inches of rain based on radar estimates. So it's been a very wet and stormy night tonight. So let's go back to the radar and we'll check our Polygon up here in the far northern tip. And by the way, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Calhoun, Cherokee, Cleburne, and Etowah. So a new severe thunderstorm warning for Calhoun, Cleburne, Cherokee, Etowah counties until 11:45 tonight. So it's for this line of storms, obviously, and as this moves on to the east, there's a chance this could produce strong straight line winds in those counties. So again, Calhoun, Cherokee, Cleburne, Etowah. Severe thunderstorm warning until 11:45 tonight. Again, you see some bowing line segments in through here. And again, we've had so many trees come down across the state tonight, and this could knock down more trees and more power lines. So just be aware of that. I think at one point, Chris, we had 45,000 Alabama Power Company customers with no power.
That's correct,
Yeah.
yes.
So we've had a lot of outages, and a lot of people are in the dark tonight because of these winds. So again, there's your Polygon right there. You can see this includes parts of Calhoun, Cleburne, Cherokee, and Etowah counties, a severe thunderstorm warning. That's a little bitty tornado warning, and let's look at this thing. This is about to go into Georgia. So as soon as this clears into Georgia, we're going to go back to Chris and finish the newscast. Let's put the velocity display back on here. And yeah, it's pretty broad, and it's almost into Georgia. So in a matter of minutes, this danger will be over for Cherokee County in northeast Alabama. I'd say in about 2 or 3 minutes, we'll go back and finish the newscast here. So the tornado warning for northern Cherokee will be canceled as this is moving into Georgia. In its place, we have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of Calhoun, Cherokee, Cleburne, and Etowah counties in northeast Alabama for the possibility of damaging straight-line winds. A new tornado watch for parts of east and southeast Alabama until 6 a.m. tomorrow, as this line of storms continues to slowly move on to the east. So with this storm moving into Georgia, that means we have no tornado warnings in effect for our part of the world. So at this point, let's get back over to Christopher Sign, and we're going to see if we can wrap up the 10 o'clock news here. Chris?
All right, James, we're going to bring you back in just a few minutes to talk about what to expect late tonight and early tomorrow. Also want to let you know that we do have our crews positioned from Tuscaloosa County to Etowah County. And of course, we have cameras all over the viewing area taking a look at what's happening right now. We'll be right back with those live reports. Thanks for staying with us here on ABC 3340 News at 10 for our extended coverage on this developing weather situation. You know, we have been seeing storm damage really throughout the entire area. I want to focus right now in Walker County in Carbon Hill. Well, several homes were damaged. Our Stephen Quinn, first person there on the scene. Stephen, what's the situation? Are you still hearing nobody was seriously injured amid all that damage?
That is the word, and certainly we're praying that that continues to be the case, Chris. As of right now, we're being told by police here in Carbon Hill that where I'm standing here along Nauvoo Road is where the worst of the damage that they have seen so far, and the damage is significant. Look at this. This was the foundation of this mobile home here along Nauvoo Road. Where's the trailer itself? Well, there it is all the way back there. Moved around just like a Lego piece. That's how long this how strong this storm and this apparent tornado was that hit this area. And one final point as well, Chris, I'm getting a lot of messages from viewers asking about the high school, which is just down the road from us. I have heard that there is some damage to the high school. I haven't had a chance yet. We're working to make our way down there to see the extent of the damage. We were told that it was involving the roof there that had been damaged in some way by this storm, that it was lifted up and then came back down, and they're worried about some leaks in that area. And that's what police are telling us. We're working to try to get our way over there so we can take a look at it for ourselves. But the big point is the one that we mentioned from the beginning, Chris. So far, no injuries being reported. Significant injuries. We were told there was one person with a head injury and another with an injury to her arm that were transported. But certainly we're hoping that that news stays as it is. And the good news, again, that this appears to be the worst of the damage. And we were here with fire officials as they went door to door, knocking on these doors to make sure everyone was okay in this trailer park. So far, everyone okay and accounted for. One final note as well, obviously there are a lot of people concerned about their loved ones here in Carbon Hill. Despite that fact, first responders are begging people to stay out of this area right now. They have closed all roads leading into Carbon Hill as first responders try to assess the damage, try to make sure that everyone is okay, get everyone who needs to be in here in terms of those first responders, and make sure that anyone who's hurt is able to get out. The worst of the weather, at least for now, is out of here. It's not raining, and that is at least some relief to the people as they're trying to clean up in the dark right now. Power is still out in Carbon Hill. Chris?
Stephen, as you noted earlier, it sounds like people heeded the warning and got out and found a safe place to get to for shelter. Appreciate your reporting tonight. You let us know if you have another update, and we'll come right back to you. Meanwhile, the storm system leaving damage behind in Etowah County. This is State Highway 205 in Boaz. Trees were down, power lines were down as well. You see emergency crews there on the scene trying to clear the roads. Etowah County crews are also responding to other damage reports in Boaz and Reese City. We have been, of course, on top of these storms all day, led by Chief Meteorologist James Spann. We have had crews from West Alabama to East Alabama. This is video that we caught live. Did you see that right there? Brian Peters, meteorologist Brian Peters, was in the car. He was storm chasing. This is in Pickens County when the tree fell right in front of him. And of course, that is just one of the many concerns tonight with the saturated ground as well. And as those storms pushed east, that storm system crossed Highway 78 near the Bagley community just outside of Dora. This video is of the old Sportsman gas station on Highway 78 just outside the Mill Creek neighborhood. Our meteorologist Meaghan Thomas spoke to a person who was injured in the storm today.
What did it sound like when it came through?
It got really dark.
It just got dark in this crazy wind and blew the glass out.
And I noticed both of you have cuts on your face. You're bleeding from your ear.
Well, top of my head.
Top of your head. So the
Bleeding
glass is what got you the most.
Yeah, luckily.
And just around the corner from there in the Mill Creek neighborhood, significant damage, blocking the entrance and exit to that neighborhood that is located right off Highway 78. People quickly came out of their homes, cutting down the trees, clearing the roadways for those first responders. And before the storms reached Alabama, a fatal tornado outbreak went right across the state of Mississippi. 6 people have died. That's according to the executive director of the Mississippi Emergency Management. And in Lawrence County, we know that 2 people died there, and one of those deaths, a sheriff's deputy and his wife.
My wife was scared, and I just kept telling her it's going to be okay, you know. But it was a scary moment for sure. There's no doubt about that. You know, she told me a little while ago, she said, I thought we were all gone.
Back here at home, a busy day, still a lot happening. We're going to be checking in with Chief Meteorologist James Spann in moments. Continuing severe weather alert coverage for you right now. This is a live look. This coming out of Aniana, and noteworthy here, yes, there's not a lot of high winds, there's not a lot of lightning at this point, but the rain continues to fall. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist James Spann. And James, it appears as though the rain is now the concern.
Yeah, we've got flash flood warnings in effect for a number of counties. In fact, new flash flood warnings have been issued here in the last 30 minutes. We note aerial flood advisories for parts of Greene, Hale, Pickens and Sumter counties. We've got flash flood warnings in effect for parts of Jefferson, Tuscaloosa, Walker. The rain has ended, but the runoff continues. Flash flood warnings in effect for parts of Blount County, and we have new severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of Chilton, Clay, Coosa, Shelby, Talladega, and Tallapoosa counties. Also, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of Calhoun, Cherokee, Cleburne, and Etowah counties. Basically, all of the areas in advance of this line of storms. As the storms advance onto the east, we have the dual threat of flooding and strong winds that could knock down trees and power lines. There is no evidence of a tornado at this point, so that's the reason we have no tornado warnings. But again, this is the southernmost severe thunderstorm warning, and this is the northernmost severe thunderstorm warning here. So for this line segment, and for this line segment, the possibility of strong winds, flooding rains, and again, maybe some small hail. But the good news at this point, we see no evidence of a tornado. And again, back to the north and west of Birmingham, the risk of a tornado is ended. We are watching another line of storms over northeastern Mississippi, but these have really weakened. In fact, let's pop the Columbus radar on here, and you can see that we have this line of storms with severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of northeastern Mississippi. But quite frankly, the storms continue to weaken, and I don't expect a major problem in Alabama with these storms later tonight. Still, they might produce some gusty winds, brief heavy rain. There's no risk of a tornado. The wind profiles back here are unidirectional. But still, we'll watch these, but that's the last batch that'll be rolling through parts of North Alabama, mainly the Tennessee Valley, over the next few hours with a weakening trend expected. The main concern is for areas down here to the south and east of Birmingham. We'll pop the Birmingham Radar back on, and you can see the batches of storms now stretching from near Weiss Lake down to parts of Calhoun County around Jacksonville, and that segment could produce strong winds. Another segment may be producing some strong winds down around the Coosa River and Lay Lake. That'll be coming over toward Childersburg and Sylacauga, Rockford, Clanton, with the possibility of strong winds there. But the good news for the Birmingham Metro, the weather is greatly improved. We don't have the driving rain, the flooding type rain. We don't have the strong winds. All of that is shifted down to the south and east. But again, if you are in counties like Cleburne, Cherokee, Calhoun, Clay, Tallapoosa, Coosa, Talladega, just be aware that these storms will have the dual threat as they come through of flash flooding and strong straight line winds. It might be enough to knock down trees and power lines. We have a lot of trees and lines down across the state from the activity today. We've had multiple tornadoes touching down. It's been a rough day today, and we're still going to have to watch this area pretty carefully as those storms move on through. Now, the good news in coming days, we look nice and quiet. These storms should be over by about 2 or 3 a.m. on the eastern side of the state, and we think this week will be relatively quiet. Mostly dry, partly sunny days, fair nights, temperatures below average, highs in the 60s and 70s, lows in the 30s and 40s this week. But again, after today, no chance of any severe weather for the next week with temperatures going below average. We will have to watch for the chance of some scattered frost again in spots. So we'll be watching that in coming days. We have more news coming up in minutes as ABC 3340 News at 10 o'clock continues.
Let's continue our live team coverage now as we go to Tuscaloosa County. Our Ashley Gooden is live in Tuscaloosa County on New Watermelon Road, where there are reports of damage. Ashley, what's the situation where you are?
Well, Chris, I actually just moved one more street over from New Watermelon Road. This is actually Lake Nichols Road. I'm going to step out of the way so you guys can see it. There's a tree that's taken down some of these power lines. The firefighters and police officers that I just spoke with a minute ago tell me that they are not sure if these lines are still live or not. So we are staying as far away as possible. But we were over there on New Watermelon Road, where Fire Station 10 is, and I will tell you they had a couple of trees down over there. Several emergency crews were working on cutting up those trees, but we found that because Tuscaloosa Mayor Walt Maddox is tweeting actively and letting people know, hey, if you have damage in your area, make sure that you call 911 and let first responders know that there is something going on so they can come and clear that area as soon as possible. Now, New Watermelon Road, the traffic is moving smoothly again. They were able to get rid of those trees, but this tree right here on, again, Lake Nichols Road is not completely cleared yet. There are a couple of people trying to figure out exactly how to approach that, and we will be sure to keep going around this area and worry about, and figure out what we can do to get the quickest information to you. But for now, live in Tuscaloosa, Ashley Gooden, ABC 3340 News.
Ashley, I did want to ask you before you go very quickly, what about the main arteries? What about the main arteries in and around Tuscaloosa? Do they seem passable? Do they seem okay today?
Yes, those roads do seem passable. I will tell you, I was in Northport earlier, and there were some spots where there was some heavy flooding, but those seem to have cleared pretty quickly. I was in the intersection of 32nd Street and 20th Avenue, and there was actually a Northport police car that had to be towed out of that floodwater. But again, we were able to get out of that area within a few minutes because the water, as soon as it stopped raining, quickly went away.
All right. Ashley Gooden live for us in Tuscaloosa County. Ashley, thank you for that update. Also noteworthy with those power outages she was describing in Tuscaloosa County, I wanted to let you know this is the last update we received from Alabama Power. This was at 8 p.m. So these are the latest numbers. This is the last set that they've given us. 2,500 customers without power in Tuscaloosa, for example, in Tuscaloosa County, 10,700 Jefferson County, 10,200 Blount County, 6,700 customers in East Alabama and Etowah County, 5,800 in Walker County, 3,000 in Pickens County. And I want to go back to Walker County. That's where we have seen just a tremendous amount of damage, and thankfully, not many injuries to go with this damage. Stephen Quinn has been on the move. Okay, Stephen, what's your location now?
I'm in the parking lot in front of the area. So many people are asking us about, Chris, this is Carbon Hill High School, and I just got off the phone with the superintendent, Dr. Joel Haygood. You see here some of the damage to one of these awnings at the front. He told us that the damage is minimal. He was frankly afraid that it could have been far worse. He did say there is some damage to the roofing, to a dugout at one of the fields behind us, and some fencing. But as you can see, the structure as a whole is still standing. We don't have the benefit of a lot of light. I realize it's kind of hard to see beyond where our car lights and camera lights are. With the benefit of daylight, we're hoping to see more, but clearly in their mind, they feel like they dodged a bullet of sorts here with the school itself, because to give you a sense, Chris, we're just not even a mile from where I was standing the last time you saw us. So that gives you a sense of how close some of the extensive damage was to the high school itself. But this is what we're able to see. And the superintendent, again, telling us there are a few leaks. He was actually just over here, I'm told, within the last hour or so, surveying the damage for himself. So he got a chance to see, frankly, some areas that we don't have the benefit of seeing right now, but everything is okay. And again, another word, did just also speak to April Heron. She is a councilwoman. Her house received some of the damage as well, not far from where that trailer park was. And she reiterated again that so far they have not heard of any significant injuries here within Carbon Hill. It is a very fluid situation, but hopefully that has remained consistent in the last 2 hours or so since we've been out here. And that is certainly the best news that we can report. And obviously we hope that it'll stay that way overnight. We'll be continuing to monitor it to make sure that it does.
Stephen Quinn live for us in Walker County. Stephen, excellent job going from place to place, giving us a good vantage point of what happened there. All right, so all of this severe weather coverage started early this afternoon, led by Chief Meteorologist James Spann. Taylor Sarallo also in-house helping James. So James, I'll just toss it back to you as you kind of round out the evening and what all of us can expect.
Right, so the concern is for areas south and east of Birmingham, Chris. Here's a look at the radar. And let's just show you, we've got segments of thunderstorms that could produce strong winds. We have severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect now for parts of Cherokee, Calhoun, and Cleburne counties in northeast Alabama. Also for parts of Talladega, Coosa, Tallapoosa, and Clay counties in east Alabama for this segment and this segment. They could produce strong winds as they move east, maybe enough to knock down trees and power lines. So keep that in mind. Also, all of this rain is just torrential. We could see some flash flooding in through here. Now, the good news, the rain for the Birmingham Metro is really tapered off and pretty much over. Now, we are watching another line of storms over northeastern Mississippi, but these storms are rapidly weakening. There's hardly any lightning up and through here, and the Weather Service in Birmingham indicates they are not planning on issuing any severe thunderstorm warnings for these, but they might produce winds of 30, 35, 40 miles an hour. Keep in mind, with all the rain we've had, the winds with these showers might be enough to knock down some trees and power lines. Probably not many, but those are weakening showers about to move into west and northwest Alabama with gusty winds, but the Weather Service expects those to stay under severe limits, which is a great thing. So let's pop on the tornado watch again. We'll put the watch warning map on the board. We have a tornado watch for parts of east in southeast Alabama, right in through here until 6 a.m. Now, the watch will be canceled well before that for the counties in Alabama, but you can see this will include counties like Calhoun, Cleburne, Talladega, Clay, Randolph, and counties on down to the south. To the north and west, the severe weather risk has ended, but we still have flash flood warnings in effect for a few counties. But the rain has ended there, but it's the runoff that's the problem. So they will continue for an hour or two. But the main chance of any tornado activity, severe storms in areas east and southeast of Birmingham. But at this moment, we do not have any tornado warnings in effect. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, again, for counties like Lowndes, Montgomery, Elmore, Coosa, Tallapoosa, Clay, southern Talladega, and then parts of Calhoun, Cleburne, and Cherokee counties in northeast Alabama for the possibility of strong straight-line winds. The bottom line is no tornado warnings in effect across the entire state for now. The Weather Service will be looking at damage tomorrow. We know that we've had tornado damage from Boaz down toward Reese City, southern Marshall, northern Etowah counties. A lot of damage there. We have had tornado damage, obviously, in Carbon Hill in Walker County. You saw that from Stephen Quinn. We've had tornado damage in places like Pumpkin Center and Bagley and Sayre. That's in the Walker, Jefferson County line. We've had a lot of straight line wind damage. We have trees down in so many counties, can't even mention them all. You see all the dots, those are storm reports. And again, the Weather Service will be assessing all of this. It's going to take them a while to do that, but we'll get the ratings of these tornadoes tomorrow. The good news in our state, and the best thing I can tell you, is the fact that we have had no loss of life on this Easter Sunday. I think it helped in a way that people were home, and I think they were prepared for this. It seemed like everybody was ready, and people responded. So no loss of life. We've had some injuries. We've had some injuries reported in Boaz, some injuries reported in Carbon Hill, some in the Bagley area, but those, from what I can understand, have not deemed to be serious at this point. It's still early in the game, and this event is not over yet. So again, we're not going to stay here for wall-to-wall coverage because we have no tornado warnings. That's the policy here. If we have tornado warnings, we go on the air, we stay on the air. We do not. However, we're going to be here. We'll watch these storms, and if we have tornado warnings, we'll come right back on the air. We'll plan on the next update at 11:30. So, Chris, I'm going to wrap up the newscast, and we are done. Thank you for watching ABC 3340 News tonight at 10 o'clock. We'll see you at about 11:30 for the next update right here. Stay with us.